60 points at the closing bell, extending Friday's plunge. The S&P also down more than 1%. The NASDAQ dropping over 2%. Secretary of State John Kerry in London.
Do I agree that Britain's role has somehow been diminished? No. I think it's been changed.
He calls the U.S. bond with the U.K. unbreakable after also visiting Brussels to reassure EU leaders. Parts of West Virginia, devastated by deadly flooding, are getting hammered again by heavy rain. Fox Radio's Eben Brown with more live.
At least 20 counties in West Virginia are under flash flood watches for rains that haven't stopped since last week and really took the state by surprise. Governor Earl Ray Tomblin.
With inches of rain falling in our mountainous terrain here, it's, we didn't know exactly how bad it was going to be. We didn't anticipate it, I think, being as bad as it was.
Now, the rain has swelled creeks and rivers and destroyed hundreds of homes and is displacing thousands of residents, which will also likely shutter hundreds of small businesses. At least 23 deaths are blamed on the flooding, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. Abortion clinic restrictions in Texas are struck down as unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court.
I am beyond elated.
Amy Hagstrom Miller with Whole Women's Health, which argued the new rules were forcing its Texas clinics to close.
We took on the bully politicians, and we've struggled every day since then against anti-choice, regressive politics.
Critics say the Texas law imposing new rules on doctors and clinic standards was designed to make it harder to get an abortion. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the ruling erodes the authority of states to safeguard the health and safety of women. Again, sell-off on Wall Street, the Dow drops 260. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
A Central California wildfire that killed 2 people, destroying more than 200 homes, is now burning away from neighborhoods, about 40% contained. There may be some relief soon on the horizon from hot, dry conditions.
We're getting into monsoon season across the Southwest, which means the potential for some showers and thunderstorms for the next couple of months, which is good news. That'll help the relief a little bit. But bad news, dry lightning. It's so dry out here. We can have thunderstorms, and actually the moisture evaporates before it hits the ground.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. A potential running mate hits the campaign trail.
Even before Democratic presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton and potential Veep choice Senator Elizabeth Warren appeared together at a Cincinnati rally, Republican Donald Trump sent out a tweet calling Warren goofy. The mudslinging didn't stop there as Warren bashed Trump before the Ohio crowd.
He will crush you into the dirt to get whatever he wants.
Clinton then taking the stage to praise Warren.
I do just love to see how she gets under Donald Trump's thin skin.
Neither Trump or Clinton have made any formal announcements about their running mates, but both camps have been letting reporters know the lists are getting shorter and shorter. Jill Nato, Fox News.
One new study estimates Trump's tax and budget plans would spike the national debt by at least $10 trillion over the coming decade, mainly because of tax cuts. The same group, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, says Hillary Clinton's agenda would also raise the debt by about $250 billion over 10 years, citing tax increases to pay for proposals including expanding Obamacare. Recapping Wall Street, a sell-off extended over the UK vote to leave the EU, all the uncertainty sparking anxiety. The Dow drops 1.5%, down 261. Banking stocks hit especially hard. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS, or you can visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, clear, gets down to 63. Tomorrow, cools off. This is my kind of weather. Mostly sunny, high 77. Wow. A low of 52. Wednesday, sunny, clear, high 79, low of 57. Right now, sunny, clear, 90 in Champaign, Urbana.
The Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5, Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner. It's a new week. It's Monday. You had an interesting weekend, supplying your house with diapers.
A lot of moving stuff. A lot of new things in my house.
So you
taking up space.
Exactly.
Like another human's going to be there in a month and a half or so.
These darn kids are already cluttering things up.
I mean, our living room's already full of toys and stuff. You're not even here yet.
So you're 29 years old and you had a responsible weekend, and I'm 45 and I didn't.
There was a keg involved.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
My wife called it a pregger kegger.
A pregger kegger.
You know, you have all your friends over, and we had like a shower. We had some stuff at our house. Or
Sounds fun.
My mom and dad's house, and they had a big pool there, so all the kids got to go in the pool and things like that. But no, us guys were there too, and we decided we'd get a keg. And
why not?
Have a good time with everybody.
Absolutely. And poor Tiff sat over in the corner not being able to drink.
That's true.
That is the worst thing in the world. Meanware, I went down to Nashville. Holy smoke. That's where we'll end the story, right there.
That's a fun town.
It was a great town.
That's a fun town.
We were able to see a little bit of Friday, we just kind of went down, had a nice dinner downtown, and then Saturday we sat by the pool all day, and then we went, and we kind of just went on Broadway there. I think that's what it's called, Broadway, the main street, and just kind of bar hopped into different ones. And
live
just kind of chilled.
Most of them.
Every one of them. Ran into people I knew from here. It was just so funny. It was just one of those weekends.
That is a different kind of hot.
It really
down
is.
In Nashville. A different kind of humid down in Nashville. The one time I went down there, and I got to get back there again because I was like 20 when I went down there, of course.
Yes, you do.
But yes, it's a different kind of humidity down there, especially this weekend.
One of the guys with our group we were telling everybody goodbye Sunday, and I had my 5-hour drive back, and one of the guys is like, you know what would be cool? You think we could ever do a weekend like this, like let's say in Nashville where we don't drink or anything and we just kind of go around and be responsible and see the sights?
No.
And I'm like, no, I don't think that would happen.
Go to Nashville.
I'll take the boys down for that kind of thing. Let's don't do that with this.
Go to a Preds game.
Exactly. Went right by that. But yeah, that's just I love live music. I love having a beer and listening to live music, and definitely Nashville's the spot for it.
Well, there's a lot of baseball this weekend that we got to talk about, and not so good for the Cubs. Wow. A 1-6 week for the Chicago Cubs. Ryan Watt, BPWrigleyville.com, will join us at 3:45 to talk about the Cubbies. They still own a 9-game lead in the NL Central. Right. Cardinals won 2 of 3, or lost 2 of 3 over the weekend. Of course, they swept the Cubs, so they're slowly inching a little bit towards them. But the other worry for the Cubs is they don't have the most wins in baseball anymore.
Who's got that?
The San Francisco Giants.
Are you kidding me?
I did not know that. The San Francisco Giants are on a tear. The Cleveland Indians have won 9 in a row. Obviously, the Nationals have cooled off here a little bit, but the San Francisco Giants are on some kind of tear, and we keep talking about that. I think the biggest concern for the Cubs right now is they're not healthy, and they don't really have a lot of great options in the bullpen.
Right.
So that's your worry is sometimes it's a battle of attrition. Who's hot?
Exactly.
So even if the Cubs still are they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in baseball during the regular season. Those are your worries. And I think it's not time to panic, obviously,
not
because
at all.
you're 21 games or whatever over 500 and you'll be fine. I think you'll win that division. But there are concerns when Anthony Rizzo has a bad back.
Yeah.
Dexter Fowler's been hurt.
Right.
Kyle Schwarber's been hurt. Right? And he's not coming back.
No, he's
Jorge
not.
Soler's been hurt, and he's been struggling anyway. And then, obviously, Jake Arrieta, I don't think there's really anything wrong with him, but John Lackey has a bad start. Your bullpen is basically having tryouts right now.
There's no doubt.
So there's at least a couple concerns that this isn't as easy as we thought. Baseball is going to baseball, but it's still a hell of a roster.
Oh, without a doubt. I love how you say that baseball's going to baseball. It's true. It's a process, right? And it seemed like it came on, I don't want to say quick. I know Cubs fans have been waiting for this Theo experiment, and it's working. It's working. Let's don't forget that. But it was like all of a sudden last year they just got really good. and then they beat the Cardinals, and then all of a sudden they kind of got brought down to earth with the Mets.
They were a year ahead of schedule.
I agree, totally agree. So now this year, they're still fine. I still think I did put money on them in Vegas.
Did you?
But it's one of those where it is a process, and it's one of those where you almost get mad because it's like, well, why are they so good? Why can't we just be the only good team? I remember saying that with the Cardinals, those years when all of a sudden Philadelphia was really good with Halladay, and then it was Washington all of a sudden was really good, and then they unexpectedly decided to shelve Strasburg, and then the Giants got in our way, and it's just one of those funny things where you're like, well, why are they so good? And then Boston a couple of times. But that always happens. That's what happens. There's always going to be 2 or 3 out there that are maybe as good or they're going to be there to contend. Yeah. But for the Cubs, you know what? Maybe this is something you just kind of take a step back. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's get a little healthy. Is Dexter Fowler, is he coming back anytime soon, right?
Should be back soon.
I didn't realize how important he was to that team, but he was unbelievable the first month.
Well, when you talk about what was the Cubs' weakness last year was on base. Getting on base, correct. Too many strikeouts. Hayward's helped that a little bit. Obviously, Ben Zobrist has helped that a little bit. But, Dexter Fowler's one of your main guys. He just gets on base 40-something% of the time.
Absolutely.
Zobrist does that. Hayward does that. And when you have that over and over again, that middle of the lineup, Bryant, Rizzo, he's going to strike out a lot.
Sure.
Sure. Especially with Rizzo hurt a little bit. I know he's hitting doubles and stuff still, but, that's a concern once you get into a small sample, like the 7 games.
Yes.
This 7 games is a small sample.
No doubt.
You just can't have that happen in the playoffs.
No, that's true. And that's what we'll see. So we'll talk to Ryan Watt, kind of see what he thinks is happening with the Cubbies. He's bpwrigleyville.com.
We'll also talk some Cardinals, our bi-weekly chat with Mike Claiborne, nice. KMOX. I have a Matt Carpenter stat for you.
Oh, that guy. When he hit those 2 home runs yesterday, I stopped in Mattoon for lunch, kind of a 2:00 lunch on my way back from Nashville, and I was there to see both of his homers, and I just sat there thinking, boy, Jeremy's going to be giddy. And then I'm going down Saturday to get his practice jersey.
Yeah.
I'm fired up for that. I think I've already finagled the other one for you.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to have one in the studio, and then I'll give one of them to the boys.
So Matt Carpenter, obviously, is now 13 home runs,
yes,
I believe, on the
right.
season. There's only one player that has a higher OPS this season than Matt Carpenter. Can you name?
Trout?
No. He's having one of his best years ever in a long, storied career.
I should know this, and my mind is not in operation.
He's on a farewell tour.
Oh, Ortiz.
David Ortiz.
Are you kidding me?
He's the only guy with a higher OPS, on base plus slugging this year, than Matt Carpenter. That means Matt Carpenter gets on base a lot, and he has a lot of power.
Wow.
That's like one of the most telling stats about how good a hitter somebody is. He's number 2. I think Major League Baseball did a vote. They had all their beat writers vote.
I heard this.
He wasn't in the top 50.
Bernie Micklitz, on my way down, I heard Bernie Micklitz show on 101.3. He was on fire about this.
Since 2013, I have Matt Carpenter ranked 6th in wins above replacement among position players.
Holy cow.
This is nothing new.
No.
And it's amazing how, people keep asking me, it's amazing how underrated he is. And I go, well, I don't think he's underrated.
Right.
We talk about him all the time. And I think in Midwest, people talk about him all the time.
But it's obvious that he is.
Here's who's in front of him.
Okay.
Wins above replacement since 2013. Carp is 6th with 19.2. This is among hitters. Machado is number 5 at 19.3. A superstar.
Yeah.
Paul Goldschmidt, a superstar, is number 4 at 21. Andrew McCutchen, superstar.
No doubt.
At 21.6 is number 3. Josh Donaldson is number 2. Big step up, 26.9. Okay. And number 1,
Trout.
Mike Trout, 31.8. Donaldson's 2 at 26.9. McCutchen 3 at 21.6. Trout 31.8. Since 2015, Carpenter is 10th in OPS behind Harper, Goldschmidt, Trout, Ortiz, Votto, Donaldson, Miguel Cabrera, Anthony Rizzo, and Nelson Cruz.
That is a good list. To be a part of, that is a great list.
That is what he is a part of right now. And I did the last 2 years with that OPS because he's turned into one of the best sluggers in the game. Even though we don't think about him as that.
No.
He has turned into one of the best sluggers. He has, 42 home runs over the last season and a half.
And that's the amazing thing is that we're seeing this right in front of our eyes. Like, he decided, he willed himself to become more of that guy, and it's working. That's hard to do. I bet there's so many stories the other way where that doesn't work out, where some guy says, all right, you know what? I'm going to cut down on power, try to get on base more, or opposite, and it doesn't work. It's working for Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, I mean, he's turned
amazing.
It's amazing that he's been able to do both. He still gets on base at a higher rate, still makes great contact, and still has power.
The one thing I take from that list, though, with Trout being number one in the wins, the WAR department, as good as Matt Carpenter is, and I've appreciated watching him for the last 3, 4, whatever years, and he's at what, 19? And Mike Trout's at 30, whatever.
Oh, 32.
I mean,
Mike Trout's one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
See, I hardly watch him. I hardly ever watch him because of the West Coast thing. I don't know. Maybe I should just tape games. Maybe I don't know why my big issue is, but I don't have the MLB network. But still, it's one of those where you just appreciate how great Mike Trout is because you know how good Matt Carpenter is, and Trout's that much better.
Trout and Kershaw are two of the best
That's unreal.
we've ever seen, and their runs have been pretty.
And Kershaw lost again. He can't beat the NL Central.
Well, he's lost 2 games this year.
I know.
Right?
I was thinking of that, though, with the problems with the Cardinals in the past and the Pirates getting him last night. It's just amazing to me that that's like the only teams that beat him.
Could be setting up for Cardinals-Dodgers in the one-game wild card.
Great.
so he'd have his chance to get a little payback if that happens.
I bet Kershaw would be like, I got to face them again.
And finally, I think Mike Matheny was forced to make a move with the bullpen.
I believe so.
Another blown save.
Yeah.
And you could talk about, he still saved some games this year. How many base runners Rosenthal has given up?
It's ridiculous.
It's amazing how long it's taken Mike Matheny. And it was setting up yesterday to where he was putting in in the final inning. But it's amazing how long it took him to get to this point.
I totally agree. And I think you do. I know we talk about the past. That, he has gotten it done. It matters. And I'm sure for a manager, especially a guy like Matheny, and I think you've talked about this, I think Matheny's got a good grasp of that dugout.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good grasp of that clubhouse. I'm sure he's not a guy that's going to make just a knee-jerk reaction, even though to the eye,
and you should,
it needs to be done.
But this has been
more building up.
And this is more than just this season.
Right.
I mean, he's been bad this season, worse than he's ever been, and that's why you make the move. But this is what he's been.
He's always been.
I mean, 2 years ago he had a terrible year.
And then he had to go he pitched from the stretch last year all the time because he had such a bad year the year before.
And I get it. He didn't want to ruin Trevor Rosenthal, but at some point you got to win games.
You have to win games.
You got to do what's best for your team to win games.
Friday night down in Nashville, it was just one of those nights. You didn't really pay attention to anything in the world. And then Saturday morning I wake up to Rosenthal doing that. Brian Elliott got traded by the Blues. It was like one of those.
Heads are falling up.
I'm like looking through Twitter going, I just missed everything in the world.
What'd you make of that, Elliott getting traded?
That's weird to me. I guess maybe there's a love affair with Jake Elliott that I didn't realize, or Jake Allen, I'm sorry, that I didn't realize.
Well, if you can mix the two, maybe you would have a good going.
That'd be solid. But I think Elliott's representatives maybe pushed that along a little bit. I think they liked St. Louis. Brian liked St. Louis, but I don't think he ever felt like he was ever given the chance to be the clear-cut number one.
Yeah.
And you saw it a little bit in the playoffs. You saw that a lot, though, in the playoffs. It's a 2-goalie system almost every team now in the playoffs. Sports Illustrated did a big article about that, but I think Elliott's reps just said, if he's not going to be the guy, for sure, and I don't think the Blues could tell him that. So I think they said, well, then let's deal us. Let's get rid of him. Let us go somewhere where we can be that guy. And for Blues fans, you immediately start thinking, oh, no. Yeah. Is this the next Ben Bishop? Is this the next guy to go and succeed at a really high level, and we got rid of him? But I'm fine with whatever way. I'm fine with either Elliott or Allen. Now it's Allen's game. Go do it.
And then you have the Blackhawks trading Andrew Shaw.
Wow.
They more cap concerns.
Sure.
They get a couple second-round picks out of them, and they drafted a bunch of kids this weekend. You wonder who's the next guy.
Right.
But that's a shot to that offense when you take Teuvo Teravainen and Andrew Shaw out of it. But we'll see. I mean, a lot of pressure on Bowman, but you can't help but say it's kind of like Mazalek. It's like, well, you just got to trust him.
Yeah, you do.
Got to trust him at this point because they always find a way. But you wonder when's the point where, okay, they can't make up for losing that many guys.
Well, and it's funny because it's one of those situations where you've won 3 cups.
Yep.
And you know what? You can complain about what's happening now, but that's just the system. That's sports. That's what brings parity, this cap. That's why there's the teams that dominate for a while and then the other teams rise because of stuff like this.
Yep.
But you still have those 3 cups. The Blues don't. And you almost feel as a Blues fan like we've reached that chance and now it's kind of going back downhill.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that worries me the most. That's why this year I thought was the year the Blues needed to win the Cup.
And for the Blackhawks fans, you still got Kane, Tays, Crawford, Key, Seabrook, Hossa.
Hey, Nathan,
doing all right.
Yeah, I think they're doing all right. Nathan DeSutter's doing some work in here, and I keep forgetting to read his notes. The Rangers also have 49 wins. We had talked about the other teams. Dexter Fowler, eligible to return July 2nd, so that would be this Saturday.
Yeah, the Rangers actually had the best. They're only 4 1,000ths winning percentage away from the Cubs right now.
And the Giants, right? And then the Giants are the
Giants
best.
are 636. The Giants and Rangers both have 49 wins, but the Cubs have like 3 fewer games than both those teams, so the percentage is a little higher.
That's unreal. And then Kershaw, he says this against the NL Central, 1-1, 15 innings, 2.40 ERA.
What a
We're blowing
pitcher.
him up.
Yeah.
We are blowing him up. And then against the rest of the league, his ERA is 1.7.
How about Cody Cool yesterday? Gets him his first major league win, his first major league start. He defeats Kershaw.
Like that. Where does it go from there?
Retire.
Right.
Just retire. It's not going to get any better.
We were laughing about that last night. I'm like, you're done. I don't know where it goes from there.
We'll also talk at 545. Illinois Radio Network is looking for a new basketball analyst. Jerry Hester stepping down after a decade there.
Great work by Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry's done a fantastic job, and it's about spending time with his family.
Yep.
I talked with him earlier today, and he was saying, it's a 2-day process for me. Every game is a road game for me. I mean, he's got to drive 2.5-3 hours down for the home games, and then he's got to travel with all that. He has his own business, and he's doing all this, so I know it's pretty tough for him, but he's done it for 10, 11 years, and he's done a pretty good job. So we'll talk with Jerry, hopefully, at 5:45. He's at an Illini alumni golf outing.
Oh, good.
But he said he should be good for about 5:45.
Okay. Jerry's one of those guys, when he first started, I had my doubts.
Yeah.
I just was kind of like, I don't know. And then he turned into a really good announcer. And what I liked about Hester is he was a good mixture of both professional and fan.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that bad. Like, for instance, a lot of times an announcer just wants to be professional. They don't want to be known as a fan.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know who they're rooting for. That's a really good announcer, but it's a little different when you're the home team. And I thought Jerry did a really good job of kind of mixing in both the professional side of it, but also being that fan, getting mad when he needed to, showing his emotion. I love that.
When you're speaking to a specific audience that is rooting completely for Illinois, I think there is definitely room for that. I mean, if you're a national broadcast, no, you should not be rooting for one.
That
you
is
should
correct.
be exciting when the game's excited.
Right.
But I think Jerry relayed that he's kind of the chorus
I
involved.
agree.
Brian's the guy, goes play by play, tells you what's going on, gives the information. Jerry's kind of the chorus. He's kind of living the game through you, but also giving you the basketball pieces, his basketball analysis and expertise.
Well, good for him. That's got to be a tough, those guys, they always talk about when they, I don't want to say retire. I mean, obviously if they play professionally, then they do retire from basketball. But to just stay around the game, whether coaching or even announcing. So that had to have been a tough move for Jerry to go ahead and step away, but probably the right move.
Yeah, I think he's got some right
for
reasons
family
for that.
and business, etc.
We're going to break down a list. I got a list of guys
I loved your article
who
on
could
that.
be next.
Okay.
And there's some interesting names. I think there's some good names for Illinois to work with. So we'll talk with Jerry at about 5:45. Oh, we got to throw this in there.
Uh-oh.
Hey, White Sox have won back-to-back series.
Right?
Just saying.
You know
the
what?
plan is working.
Aren't you only like 2 out?
Plan's working. 2.5 back to the wild card.
Oh, the wild
There's
card.
like 8 teams in the American League kind of involved in that. But that's the first time since late April. I think it was April 27th that they've won back-to-back series. Chris Sale, first major league pitcher to 13 wins. The most he's had in a season was 17. He is by far the AL Cy Young favorite right now.
It is amazing how you come and go with Chris Sale. When you guys were losing on that stretch, Chris Sale was losing.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's back, and guess what? The White Sox are back. It's important to have that guy, that stopper, if you will, every fifth day that's going to take the ball and say, look, we may have lost 2 in a row. We're not losing 3.
Right.
And that's huge, I think, for a team's psyche. And to have Chris Sale pitching like he is again, that's huge for the White Sox.
If you want to weigh in, you can. You call the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at Jay Warner Scout.
At Lonte, ESPN. See you.
Download the WSJK app on your smartphone and listen to us anywhere in the world. Get our podcast at espncu.com or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. You can watch us live on YouTube, the YouTube stream. Just search Tay and J Show. And doing Sports Center updates today is Nathan DeSutter. Coming up, some interesting Illinois news.
No doubt.
Big visitor showed up on campus, though it's been pretty quiet around this entire thing. So I'll let you know what I know a little bit about this. Also, some bad off-the-court news, though it's not for a current Illinois player.
Fair enough. And before we're out of here today, I carried on a Tay tradition this weekend that I'm really excited about. And I'll fill everybody in on that as we go along.
Tease.
That's a huge tease. Ryan Watt, later in the hour. BP Wrigleyville. We'll talk Cubbies then. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
There is absolutely no earthly reason that golf should be an Olympic sport.
Right.
There is not a single player in the world who would sooner win Olympic gold in golf than one of the majors, or frankly, probably any of the other events on the PGA Tour. So personally, I don't know why in the world they're doing this in the first place. I have no problem whatsoever with McIlroy deciding not to go.
Hearing from Rory does nothing for me about this. Hearing from an NBA player is not going to go. Show me the athletes who toil in anonymity and work for their 4 years before they go. When they start not going, and I don't think that's going to happen, because to those people, this competition is everything to them. So I'm not going to lie. Pardon me if I don't really care that Rory is not going or some NBA player is not going.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
Celebrate summer in style with great July 4th deals happening right now at Lowe's, because nothing brings friends and family together like good food and a great-looking home. So hurry in today to save big on everything you'll need, like up to 35% off major appliances $396 or more. Plus, get a Whirlpool Intuitive Touch Control washer and dryer starting at $499 each. Don't miss out on summer's best savings happening right now at Lowe's. Offers valid 6/22 through 7/12. Whirlpool offer valid on select items while supplies last. Price shown reflects discounts. Exclusions apply. See store for details and exclusions. U.S. only.
O'Reilly. Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This Mettler Fitness Tip is brought to you by the Mettler Center, located at Windsor and Duncan in Champaign.
Learn delicious ways to cook healthy foods. Gradually cut down on fat, sugar, and salt in your usual recipes, and watch how your taste buds adapt to appreciate the natural taste of foods. Use citrus juices, herbs, spices, oils, and vinegars to add amazing new zest to your food, while you reduce your reliance on fat, sugar, and salt.
If you need quick advice on a fitness topic, go to MettlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert. Your local independent Pekin insurance agent is part of your hometown. They're your friends and neighbors. They know you and your community. So when it comes to the right insurance coverage at the right price, you'll want to talk with the folks you can trust. Ask your local Pekin insurance agent about the affordable insurance coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your family. They'll help you protect what matters most. And you can always count on beyond the expected service and coverage from Pekin Insurance. To find an agent near you, visit www.pekininsurance.com.
No matter what age, braces can give you that beautiful smile you've been hoping for. If you have crooked teeth or a misaligned bite, West Main Dental in downtown Urbana has a variety of treatments that can help straighten your teeth, including braces, Invisalign, and retainers. And right now, West Main Dental is offering $500 off orthodontic services. That's right, $500 off. Call today for a free consultation to get that beautiful smile you deserve. Mention this ad to find out how you can save $500. Some restrictions apply. See office for details. The staff at West Main Dental is well trained, and they're dedicated in making your orthodontic treatment a memorable and enjoyable experience. Let West Main Dental give you the smile that you deserve. West Main Dental in downtown Urbana, 607-1292, and online at westmaindental.com.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's time for the update. Illini Football Pro Football Focus released its top 101 players for the 2016 college football season, and an Illini made the list. That man is defensive end number 91, DeJuan Smoot. who was ranked 20th overall and is a projected first-round pick. Last year, Smoot racked up 8 sacks and was graded as the 8th best pass rusher in the country. Illini football recruiting dead period starts today. That means no contact of any kind with recruits until July 10th. Nice little 2-week break. 5-star big man Jeremiah Tillman visited the Illini this Saturday. The number 1 recruit in the state said he just chilled on campus with my family. Sounds like a good day to me. 247 Sports listed as a 50% chance he commits. Off the court, former Illini basketball player Joe Bertrand was arrested on accusations of domestic violence. MLB tonight, the Cardinals start a 4-game home series with their AL state rival, the Kansas City Royals. Adam Wainwright goes up against lefty Danny Duffy. Wainwright had a terrible start, but in his last 7 starts, he lasted at least 6 innings and allowed 3 or fewer runs in all but one of them. Duffy's been solid moving into the rotation in mid-May. He's 2-1 with a 3.38 ERA, and he's been roughed up recently, giving up 6 runs in his last 9 2/3. After a 1-6 week, the Cubs lost their title of best team in baseball to the Rangers and Giants. They head to Cincinnati tonight to face a Reds team that really doesn't want to see them. So far, they're 6-1 against the broken-down Red Machine and have outscored them 60-20. Ace Jake Arrieta faces Dan Straley to try and start another winning week. The Cubs option young lefty Gerardo Concepcion back down to AAA and brought up veteran righty Joel Peralta to try and shore up the bullpen. The White Sox are off today after winning 5 of the last 7. They head to Minnesota tomorrow to face a bad Twins team in hopes to keep their winning ways going. NBA, everyone saw it coming, but it's official. Pau Gasol, he's out from the Bulls. And Carmelo, he likes the D-Rose trade a lot. 330 Sports Center.
Hey, it's Monday. It's just another great day to visit Bunny's Tavern. How about this for lunch? Breaded chicken breast on fresh baked biscuits, 2 strips of bacon. Wait, did I say bacon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, I did. And a slice of melted cheddar cheese. Your choice of mashed potatoes or cheesy grits. For dinner, stop in for the Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Grilled peppers, onions, provolone. It's all made fresh to order. They got you covered on the drinks. $1.75 pints of PBR. $3.75 Jameson's. They've always got domestic specials and buckets. Bunny's, it's open all day, every day. It's the best kept secret in downtown Urbana.
Hey, later on today, since we had somebody kind of chicken out the last time we tried to do this, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
We're going to take our first contestant in the Take and Eat contest with Christopher and Company later today. If you or someone else you know is thinking of getting engaged, tell them to listen to the Tay and J Show. All the next month, we'll be giving opportunities for someone to win a $1,500 credit toward the engagement ring of their choice at Christopher and Company in downtown Champaign. We'll be doing that later on in the show. All you got to do when we ask for you to call in is be one of the first callers, and you'll answer a couple questions with us. Come on air, have a little fun with it. We'll give you a little bit of time to think of the answers, but the more fun you are,
absolutely,
the better it is for you, because we're going to podcast these, put them on the website, and people are going to vote for their favorite. So that's your chance. All you got to do is answer a couple questions with us on air for a chance to win a $1,500 credit. That's a good use of your time.
It's like somebody telling me, hey, you got $1,500 coming your way. You just got to call the Tay and J Show.
Get an engagement ring of your choice, $1,500 for that. We can also hook you up with flowers, take you out for dinner to make your engagement perfect.
College basketball, there's some news surrounding, and one of them's for Illinois with regards to a possible recruit. I saw this on the way back from Nashville driving, and I thought, whoa, when did this happen?
Yeah.
So Jeremiah Tillman decided to visit campus.
And it's been kept low-key.
Okay.
I think his family, he would like it to be low-key. I think Illinois would as well, because every time, so much with this Jeremiah Tillman recruitment, there's been a lot of people coming out as recruiting experts and saying Illinois leads with Jeremiah Tillman, or he's close to committing. There was a chance in April and late in March that there was a chance to close this down.
Okay.
And when all that stuff started to come out, I don't think he and his family liked it all that much that people were saying this, even though there was a reason people were saying this. But ever since then, it's been a little low-key.
It really has been. I haven't heard much about it.
He's obviously had the injury.
Sure.
This is probably going to go to where he takes official visits.
Okay.
And Illinois is definitely going to be one of those.
Okay.
Kansas is definitely going to be one of those. North Carolina's been involved pretty well. But he kind of knows what his top 5 would be.
Okay.
And Illinois is towards the top of that list. I think Kansas obviously has a great sell. North Carolina obviously has a great sell. Michigan State has gotten involved.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of blue bloods. I would just say, I don't think this is anything where it's oh my God, he's close, he's
Right,
close.
right.
But I'd say it's a positive development that he and his family were on campus.
I think it's cool, and the closer I get to having a son going to college. Now, Lucas is not at this level, obviously, where we've got colleges calling us to come visit for scholarship offers. But the closer I get to having a son, I think that's neat that the family, they just want to come here.
Yeah.
They just want to come and see what it's about. Let's spend a weekend there. A summer weekend. Let's see what Champaign-Urbana has to offer. Let's check out the campus. And low key, I think, is how I would want to do it.
Right.
I think a lot of recruits like the high key.
Yeah, and there's things like Jeremiah today posted on his Facebook an orange and blue icon. Right?
Okay.
He likes to have a little fun with this.
Sure.
Would I look too much into that if I were Illinois fans? No. Because before he's released I got a top 5 coming out just to see how people would respond and have a little fun with it, right?
Absolutely.
And he didn't ever release a top 5.
Okay.
So there's a little fun with this. Based on what we've heard so far, and Derek Piper is going to talk with Jeremiah. He's supposed to talk with Jeremiah soon. I would listen to what that says more than any of these little things, but it's a positive development. He's been on Illinois' campus for a long time, and I don't think a lot has changed with Illinois, but we always said the longer this goes on, the harder it will be for Illinois to win this thing, because it obviously means that Jeremiah really likes Illinois.
Right.
But there's questions.
No doubt.
He goes to Kansas.
No doubt.
It's very likely he's going to be in the pros.
Yep.
Now, I know it hasn't worked out for Chick Diallo, though he got drafted.
Cliff Alexander,
he got drafted.
He did get drafted.
Or he didn't get drafted.
No,
he signed as a free agent. He's in the NBA Developmental League. But there's plenty of guys you can look at, Embiid, Thomas Robinson, where it has worked out. The thing is, does he want to play early? I mean, there's a clearer path at Illinois. Right. He'd be basically the starting center right away. Illinois' got some things going for it, but the prestige, getting to the pros, there's one there was one guy that's been drafted the last 10 years at Illinois.
Absolutely.
And they have to sell Jeremiah that we can surround you with enough people, we can develop you enough to where you will get that. And it would be huge for Illinois.
Oh my.
Jordan Goodwin is the perfect player.
Right.
For Illinois right now. What he can do on the court, what he brings culturally, the toughness he brings. But when you talk about perception, Jeremiah Tillman can change a lot for Illinois, and that he's gonna play in the pros. If he's healthy, he's gonna probably play in the pros at some point. And Illinois needs that. Illinois could really use a 5-star saying, I want to play there.
Right.
Because if Jordan Goodwin commits, yes, that is exciting for Illinois. It doesn't have the same resonance as a 5-star top 20 kid committing to Illinois. Now, I think Goodwin's probably going to have a bigger impact on the court.
Agree.
But Tillman can still have a huge impact on the court for a year or two, go pro, and then all of a sudden Illinois might get another guy that's like that. Maybe get another guy that's like that.
I know exactly what you're saying. I hope most of the listeners or all the listeners understand that. I mean,
and I think if you get Tillman, you get Goodwin.
You're right.
You could get Goodwin, I think, and not get Tillman.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I think getting either one of them would be huge.
It's not pick one or the other, right?
And then getting either one of them would help get the other for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Both monstrous recruits from downstate Illinois.
Yes, and you mentioned the one negative there is the fact that Illinois has had Myers Leonard essentially in the last 10 years that's played now in the NBA. What are some of the positives that Illinois is maybe offering Jeremiah Tillman right now? Obviously, playing time.
Like I said, he's been here so much. He's visited this campus more than any. He has a better relationship with this staff than any. He knows Javon Pickett really well. He knows Jordan Goodwin really, really well.
DeMonte probably knows, I would assume.
Less than those other guys.
Well, right,
But this is comfortable for him.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's close to his family. Closer than any other school he's talking about. Michigan State's a long drive from East St. Louis, right? Kansas is a long drive.
Right.
North Carolina's a plane ride.
Yes.
His family can come and see him whenever they want here at Illinois for any game that they want. So I think that's big for him. But the things that are going against him are the on-the-court stuff.
Right.
And for a lot of kids, what matters is winning basketball games, getting NBA scouts' attention. And I know you can get that anywhere.
Yeah, sure.
But when you got a proven track record of sending players to the NBA and developing players who get to the NBA, it does matter.
Fair enough.
It does matter to a lot of these kids.
When does a kid like Goodwin, when does a kid like Tillman, when do they need to make a decision?
Signing day is in November.
Okay.
But for these kids, it's pointing more towards these kids take official visits, which start late August and go through the fall. I mean, the same kind of schedule we had for Jalen Brunson, for all these other kids that we've come along. Most of them, big time kids, go through those official visits. Some kids make early decisions like DeMonte Williams and Javon Pickett.
Any news on Goodwin?
No,
not really. Right?
He's gonna play on the circuit. I think Illinois is doing really well.
They're doing everything they need to do.
I think they're doing really, really well with him. But Jordan is out to prove that he is one of the best players in the country.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he's gotten offers from Michigan State and Texas. I think are really intriguing. He's got Iowa State. He's gotten like 10 offers in the last couple months.
Yeah.
But Illinois has been there for a long time, and I still think they have as good of a shot as anybody.
Fair
but
enough.
The competition continues to grow.
So you got Pickett, you got DeMonte Williams. That's your class of 2017 right now. It could be Tillman. It could be Goodwin. And then, of course, there's still a 5th scholarship, even a 6th, I think.
You could use. I think you'd like to use 5, but the right guys, you'll take 6.
You would, definitely.
The kid everyone needs to pay attention to is Trent Frazier out of Florida.
Yeah, it is
He's
funny
a top 100 point guard.
Now that we have a point guard, it's like,
You got one point guard.
I know it is.
You got one point guard who I think is going to be a good player.
If this was 3 years ago, that's all we would talk about is Trent Frazier.
Well, and if he was in Illinois, everyone would be talking about
No
him.
doubt.
Like last year, Charlie Moore's a top 100 point guard, and people are excited about him. You get Tijon Lucas, people are excited to get a point guard. Now, but you need another one.
You do.
And Trent Frazier out of Florida is a top 85 recruit on the scout rankings, right? He's a 4-star kid.
That's awesome.
Illinois leads for this kid. He has said they lead for me.
That
right?
just seems weird to
and
me.
And he's likely to visit this summer.
Okay.
And you have a great chance to land this kid.
Awesome.
And he's a great shooter. He's great in ball screen offense. He complements Tijon Lucas so well. And that Tijon's a distribute guy first, pretty good defender, but he needs to work on his jump shot. Trent Frazier has a great jump shot. You know, those two could play together. He's a great 3-point shooter. He can get to the rim a little bit.
I love it.
Like, that kid should probably be getting more attention from the Illini fans because he fills a huge need that you still have. It's just, he's not an in-state kid.
He's not. He's a Florida kid. And for us, probably for Illinois fans, you worry like, well, I mean, we're not going to get him. He's all the way in Florida.
But he said you lead for him.
You lead me
multiple times, right?
Well, that'd be fine. I'll gladly take that kid in that 2017 class as well.
At some point, we got to talk about what Nathan said in his update. The Pro Football Focus list. There is an Illinois football player that people need to realize how talented he is and how great other people think he is. Because I don't think Illinois football fans quite know how great DeJuan Smoot is.
Right, and why is that? Is it? Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. It's almost like he's just, even though he was really good last year, it's almost like he's just jumping on everybody's radar now, and it shouldn't be that way.
Coming up next, though, we'll talk a little bit Cubs baseball. How worried should he be after a bad week?
Okay. 1 week.
One bad week.
Week, as you like to say.
Ryan Watt, BPWrigleyville.com, joins us next.
We'll do it. It's the Tay and J Show.
When your car breaks down, you realize just how much you need it. And when it breaks down, Beaumont Alignment Plus steps up. For routine maintenance like brakes, oil changes, tune-ups, batteries, and tires, you can count on Beaumont Alignment Plus. Bigger issues including alignment, suspension work, starters, alternators, transmission requires specialists. So get to know Beaumont Alignment Plus for your vehicle repairs. With locations on Bloomington Road and Denison Drive in Champaign, you're never far from the help you need. It's good to know the quality service is still affordable at Beaumont Alignment Plus.
Join the Women's Business Council for their Roaring 20s themed party, Juice the Joint, at Jupiter's at the Crossing on Saturday, July 16th from 7 to 10, benefiting Salt and Light Ministries. This is the cat's meow of events, and you will not want to miss it. Juice the Joint will include casino tables, jazz and swing dancing, food and drinks, mug shots hosted by Stasky Photography, party raffles, including a Ford Escape thanks to Bill Smith Auto, Service King, and Dawn's 24-hour towing, a mattress and pillow set from Mattress Firm, and a 50-inch TV thanks to Steve Tarrant at State Farm, along with other great prizes. So pull out your flapper dress gangster gear, newsboy cap, or your vest for the best dressed costume contest. It's Juice the Joint with Women's Business Council, July 16th, benefiting Salt and Light Ministries. Brought to you in part by CleanRight, RSM Accounting Firm, Service Master, and Prairie State Bank. Check out WBCCCC.org for tickets and enter into the Ford Escape car raffle in advance. That's WBCCC.org.
It's getting hot out there, and Chief Bauer Service Experts reminds you to tune up your home's air conditioning system before you need it most. Because if that system fails and you get hot, you may think about going to weird lengths to cool off, like napping with your head in the freezer or building a pool in the living room. Help prevent breakdowns and call Chief Bauer Service Experts for $41 off a precision tune-up. Regularly $120, now only $79. You'll also save up to 30% on energy bills and keep your system running at its best all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com.
You buy Community Credit Union for campus and community.
The
of I Community Credit Union family wants to help your family reach their goals. Our family knows it's all about our beautiful campus and growing our community because we live and work here just like you.
Hi, I'm Rodney, and I've been part of the credit union family for 7 years.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I've been part of the credit union family for 8 years.
Come see us at the U of I Community Credit Union First Street branch in Champaign.
Become a part of our family. The U of I Community Credit Union, where you and I reach goals together. Visit the U of I Community Credit Union online at uoficreditunion.org.
Live, work, or study in Champaign County? You should bank with the U of I Community Credit Union.
U of I Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Relay for Life supporting the American Cancer Society takes place from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, July 30th at Esso Park. Support from First Federal, Carl, Meyer, and Busey, along with Martin Hood Freezy and Associates, make events like the Cancer Survivor Dinner on Tuesday, June 28th possible. You're out for an awesome time with teams raising money now for the Relay for Life event, including 5 bands that will perform at Hessel Park on July 30th as we bring on hope to find a cure. Google or see Facebook for details. Saturday, July 30th at Hessel Park.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
This segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency. Insurance isn't the most exciting thing to buy, but we sure need it. And when an accident happens, you'll be taken care of if you work with the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency in Urbana. They provide all major lines of insurance and financial products, too. They work with people all over Central Illinois, just like you and me, and will design a personalized plan that will cover all your insurance and financial needs. Call the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency at 344-1900. That's 344-1900.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner. We've got Mike Claiborne from KMOX and the Cardinal broadcast team. He's going to join us at 4:05.
You just saw a video of Trent Frazier.
I like that. He's a lefty.
You get the approval?
Oh, my goodness.
Point guard out of Florida. You like him?
Quick twitch. I like this smooth shot.
There
Yes. I'm all in now on this kid.
Let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Monday is family night at Jupiter's The Crossing. Families who dine in get breadsticks, soft drinks, 1 large, 1 topping pizza, and 25 game tokens for just $25.
That is a great deal. Ryan Watt joins us, bpwrigleyville.com. Ryan, how are you, my friend?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Well, we've got some nervous pressure going on in Chicago right now. The Cubs had the worst week of their season. Any cause for concern, or just a bad week? Let's put it behind us.
You know, it's one of those things where it's difficult to say, which is the first time I think that's been the case this year.
Yes.
Because on the one hand, yeah, it's a bad week. And every team has those, including really good teams. And there's no doubt about it that the Cubs team that we're seeing right now is a really good team. The question is it the Cubs team that we saw at the beginning of the year? Because half of them are hurt right now.
Yeah.
It's those injuries that make me a little bit more worried than I usually would be about the prognosis for this team going forward, because if all these guys come back healthy, then there's no problem. You know, this team is too good and too deep to really miss a beat for the rest of the season. But if some of these injuries linger, if folks don't come back in the way that they're meant to, then the team could struggle, and that's always been the case, that it's going to be injuries that get them if something gets them, and injuries seem to be getting them a bit this week.
Maybe we're seeing how much Dexter Fowler matters to this team. Obviously, Schwarber and Soler are out too, but Anthony Rizzo's back. How big of a cause for concern is that, do you think?
Well, you'd have to ask Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
But backs are tough, man, because they're so implicated in the swing. And so I know the Cubs will be dealing with him with an abundance of caution. They'll be making sure he takes all the time he needs to get back and get rehab, because the last thing you want is for him to rush back for a meaningless game at the end of June and really hurt himself in a way that keeps him out for the rest of the year, or, which is almost worse, keeps him in the lineup but at a level well below what he's capable of. So it's not really an issue if it is indeed minor, and if the Cubs take all the time that they can with him. It could become an issue if he rushes back with it. And so I'm sure the Cubs are doing everything they can to kind of rein in those competitive urges and say, hey, Anthony, take a couple extra days if you need it.
Cubs fans, read Ryan Watt's stuff, bpwrigleyville.com. Bunch of great writers there. They cover the heck out of the Cubs. The bullpen right now, the back end of it, is basically having tryouts. And when we thought this was the one weakness that the Cubs might need to shore up, not that it's a bad bullpen, but, is there anybody towards the back, Concepcion, Carl Edwards Jr., or Spencer Patton that you think is there to stay?
Well, Concepcion sure isn't there to stay because he went down today.
Yeah.
How's your arm, by the way? Think they might take you? It's a bit of a rough situation right now because bullpens are weird. Some guys just have good years and you can't really explain it, and some guys who were good have bad years and you can't explain that either. And right now, pretty much everyone in that pen is struggling a little bit, and that isn't going to last all year. But they do need to find a way to make it work now. And so I think, calling up Joel Peralta, which they did today, who's 40 years old, but, is part of the Bartolo Colon School of Pitching, will help. I think mixing in some of those minor league kids, as you mentioned, as the season progresses, will help. And eventually guys will get back on track. So, yeah, you're right. It's absolutely something that's causing them problems right now. I don't really anticipate that it'll be a huge issue when we look back on the regular season come the end of September.
Couple of guys that are up right now, Albert Almora and, of course, Wilson Contreras. What struck out to you most about those two guys to date in a Cubs uniform?
I think that they can step in from day one and feel like they've been there forever. It's a credit not only to them. Both of them get raves throughout the organization and throughout the games for their maturity and their professionalism. But it's a credit to the organization that doesn't treat them as, hey, kid, go wear the pink backpack. Hey, kid, go get my coffee or whatever, but says, you know what, you're here, you're one of the 25 guys, you're here to help us win. That's a credit to the team. It's a credit to the veteran presence in the clubhouse. It's a credit to Joe Madden. It's a credit to the player development staff. And you know what, guys? Unfortunately, speaking of that staff, I've got a call coming in from a Cubs exec that I have to take.
No problem, Ryan.
Take it, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump up. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Ryan. Ryan Watts.
There you go. He told me that was possible to happen.
That's so funny.
But yeah, he was talking to a Cubs exec, so we'll let him go.
Absolutely.
No, I think that has stuck out with Almora and Contreras.
Agree.
That those guys just haven't been scared.
Yep.
And that's been most of these kids. Like, none of them have really been scared. Like, Solaire's the one that, dealing with the cold when he first came up, that at times looks overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. The rest of these kids don't.
No,
I don't look. And what's nice is you've surrounded them with veterans where you're not counting on them to have superstar roles like you have other teams need.
That's always been big to me. And I think it's just from watching the Cardinals through the years. It seems like they've always got the 2 or 3 veterans on their team. Right now it's Holiday, Waino, and of course Yadi Molina that kind of help these kids develop. And I thought when they first broke the news that Wilson Contreras was coming up, my thought was, then he needs to play. Otherwise, you're just wasting at bats that he could be getting down in Iowa and, then bring him up next year and let him be your number one. But the more I think about it with guys like David Ross there and what Contreras can sit, even if he's not catching. Let's say Montero's catching a game. He could sit by David Ross and just pick his brain about, all right, what are you seeing right now? What are you looking at? How would you handle this 3-2 count? How would you handle a 2-1 count when you know this guy can do this? I think there's a lot of that we don't realize that goes on in a dugout, a lot of chatter back and forth. And when you have a veteran like David Ross, and we make fun of him and call him Grandpa, but who's had a great year, by the way, I think that can really help a young man like Contreras develop, and I'm sure they bring added energy to a team as well, and it kind of helps the veteran as well with the energy.
I was going to ask Ryan, if you were the Cubs, your top trade target would be who?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It's got to be a bullpen.
It does. It's got to be probably Miller. It's got to be Andrew Miller.
Chris Coghlan, yes, and I agree with you. Chris Coglin's been a nice little addition, gives you depth because obviously you've had these injuries. I think you might make minor moves like that if you need another bat. Maybe if you need a guy who can start a little bit, but I mean that's why you have your Adam Warren's stretching out right now because you think he can be your 5th starter because you got 4 guys right now that you wouldn't mind going to the playoffs with Arrieta, Lester, Hendricks, and Lackey, and Jason Hamill. If he's your 4th guy, if he's pitching like he is for most of the season, I'd be comfortable with it. Of course, we'll have to watch this going into the second half, but yeah, it would definitely be an Andrew Miller, a Sean Doolittle, a guy who can really strengthen that top of the bullpen.
Well, and we know it. We sense it as a fan when we watch October baseball, how different it is. It's a different beast. Every pitch just magnifies. Every play is magnified. And if you're going to trot out a bullpen that's that young and not really know what you're going to get out of this kid today, that's scary. That's scary, and that's one thing I think you've got to shore that up, and they will. I don't think there's any doubt the Cubs understand where they're at, and they understand what they need to go get, and they obviously have the pieces to get it. That's the big part for them.
We knew this was going to happen, but the Pau Gasol era has ended for the Chicago Bulls.
What is your thoughts? Did you lose sleep?
I loved Pau when he was there the first year. I mean, he's a phenomenal offensive player, but this second year, you've just seen he just was so bad on defense. He didn't care about defense.
Right.
And without, Joe Kim and some of those other guys to kind of mask that, it got bad. But this was expected.
Sure.
It's the next page for the Bulls. I thought he was a great signing. They got a heck of a lot of value out of him for not giving him that much money.
No, not really.
He came here for a chance at a title. Didn't quite work out.
Did that surprise you with Tibbs as the coach at the time that they would bring in a guy like that really doesn't care much about defense?
No, because they needed offense.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they just needed another guy on offense besides Butler, besides Rose, especially not knowing if Rose could be a great offensive player. And I thought they balanced it really well in Tibbs 1 year with Pau Gasol there, and they got a 2-1 lead.
Yeah,
on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And then the second round of the playoffs. So I thought he did well for what they wanted to, but that last year watching him was really frustrating because he would say certain things and want to be a leader, but then you just see him on defense not giving his full effort, and you're like, it's time to get out of here.
Who's down low for the Bulls right now? You got Taj Gibson,
Robin Lopez.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, Robin Lopez
and Bobby Portis.
Okay,
so that's your post rotation.
I forgot about Lopez.
And Nikola Mirotic is a stretch four for them, but I think they want to go to where mostly it's a stretch four.
Okay,
Taj Gibson on the trade market wouldn't surprise me.
Okay,
but I expect them to be active out there in free agency, see what they can get. I've mentioned Harrison Barnes' name before. I know he had a terrible finals. I know he didn't have a good playoffs. But if they wanted him in a stretch four role with Robin Lopez out there, with Jimmy Butler, Denzel Valentine, that wouldn't surprise me. But it'll be interesting. It's an interesting offseason. I think it's going to be a bad year for the Bulls, but I think this is kind of a 2-year process they're looking at right now.
As they go along, and of course the big trade, Derrick Rose gone now as the Chicago Bull. It was weird the other day. I saw the video of him holding up the Knicks uniform, and even for me, not a Bulls fan, that was just weird to see. It was just kind of that, wow, I just never thought I'd see that. No, I agree.
I think it's just good for both.
I do too. I do too, but I just thought for that kid being a Chicago kid, I just never thought I'd see it.
So England's and the Great Britain and United Kingdom had a really weird week.
Right.
England just lost to Iceland in Euro in the soccer.
Is that the worst thing that's happened though for them? Yes. Like right now, if you
that's worse than Brexit.
Yes, if you took a poll right now of all England, they'd be like, "Nope, that's number one." We just lost Iceland.
Everyone would get behind that. Right. Not a good week for Great Britain.
Hey, Mike Claiborne, the Claiborne Lounge. It's next. It's the Tay and J Show.
VersaBar, a world leader in the development of heavy lifting solutions, is a proud sponsor of the Mike Ditka Show. VersaBar is also a proud supporter of the University of Illinois and the College of Civil and Environmental Engineering, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Unity Rockets. To learn more about VersaBar, just go to www.vbar.com. That's www.vbar.com. VersaBar, the power of engineering delivered. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com.
This August,
another strong finish by Phelps.
For the first time ever.
And it's a Gabby goal.
The spirit of the Olympic Games comes to life.
Usain Bolt still the king of 100.
In one of the world's most dazzling cities, Rio. The one event that unites the world. The 2016 Olympic Games from Rio. Beginning August 5th on NBC.
Hey, Cardinal fans, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is loaded with great giveaways. Friday, July 1st, the 1926 Replica World Series Championship ring presented by Edward Jones. After the game, stay in your seat for a Cooper Tires Fireworks Night. July 2nd, the adult replica Matt Carpenter batting practice jersey presented by Ford. Sunday, the Coca-Cola Cardinals Cooler Backpack. And on the 4th of July, it's the Cardinals Pillbox Baseball Cap presented by Brown & Crouppen. Tickets available at cardinals.com/promotions.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Keep the drones from taking over before they ruin Independence Day. High Caliber Training Center and Indoor Range and Hunters Haven will host a drone shoot on July 3rd, with participants given the opportunity to win a drone of their own and a gift card worth $25. The $10 entry fee gets you 5 shots at winning. From noon until 3 p.m., you can blast away at the Flying Automaton to maintain our freedom. Bring your FOID card, range-approved ammunition, and safety equipment for your chance to win. High Caliber Training Center, where your safety always comes first.
Live from the Habib BPC Studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Fox Report.
And Lisa Brady. All the uncertainty over Great Britain leaving the EU still taking a toll on your 401k. The Dow drops another 261 points, 1.5%. The Nasdaq down 114, the S&P down 36. The outgoing British Prime Minister not kicking off the formal start of the exit yet.
David Cameron saying it wasn't what he believes to be the best outcome for the country, but in Parliament today, he said that vote has to be respected and implemented. The problem is, it appears that the Leave campaign not only didn't have a plan B, well, they didn't have a plan A. There's a real political vacuum in Westminster right now.
Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster in London.
Leaders have the ability, individual people have the ability and the responsibility to restore certainty.
Secretary of State John Kerry visiting London and Brussels. The Texas governor says today's Supreme Court ruling striking down abortion clinic restrictions erodes the authority of states to safeguard women's health. Critics say the new law was really aimed at making it harder to get abortions.
2 provisions in a Texas abortion law will not be allowed to be implemented. A 5-3 Supreme Court ruling calls the regulations an undue burden, violating the constitutional right of women to seek an abortion. Texas's HB 2 would have required doctors performing abortions to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern. Court fights over similar rules continue in other states. Hillary Clinton says she won't let Donald Trump bankrupt America.
We need to write a new chapter in the American dream, and it can't be Chapter 11.
That Cincinnati rally, her first joint appearance with a potential VP contender, Senator Elizabeth Warren. In a tweet before the event, Trump again calling Clinton crooked and Warren goofy. This is the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Progress against a deadly wildfire in Central California.
We fully expect the fire to stay inside the box that we've built.
Brian Marshall is the Kern County Fire Chief. Fox Radio's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, more than 2,000 firefighters have the fire 40% contained, but Mother Nature provided an additional break. Chief Marshall says a change in direction is allowing Central California residents to save what they can.
The fire did pick up, whether that be from like a wind event, and did start moving to the north and west.
Fire officials are ushering people in to assess their homes. Some have lost everything. The nearly 70-acre blaze has destroyed hundreds of homes and killed 2 people, Lisa.
Grinnell, heavy rain falling on parts of West Virginia, already devastated by deadly floods. Governor Earl Ray Tomblin, touring damage, says his state is strong and resilient.
One of the things I love about being a West Virginian is, as I've traveled around to the stricken area, is just to see the outpouring of love and care that West Virginians have for each other.
At least 23 deaths blamed on flash flooding since Thursday. Thousands of homes and businesses destroyed. In addition to the abortion ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court today also upholding a federal law that bans people convicted of domestic violence from owning guns. And the justices unanimously overturning the corruption conviction of former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, sending that back to lower courts. New York City's Stonewall Inn, dedicated as the first national monument to gay rights.
47 years ago this week, during the Stonewall Uprising, hundreds of brave lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals stood up and said, "Enough. We will not be intimidated."
Congressman Gerald Nadler during today's ceremony. The monument covers a 7.7-acre part of Manhattan's Greenwich Village, including the tavern and an adjacent park. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this spring and summer? I guess it's summer now. Yep. Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, clear, low at 63. Cools off tomorrow, mostly sunny. High 77, low at 51. Wednesday, sunny, clear, high 79, low at 57. Right now, sunny, clear, 91 in Champaign-Urbana.
So, Jeremy, actually, we sat here and talked soccer for 2 minutes at the break, just to let everybody know.
Yeah. It's on the podcast. So I guess...
I'm not sure we displayed any knowledge whatsoever, but we talked soccer for 2 minutes.
So I guess England had its worst loss since being upset in 1960 by the U.S., that according to our soccer expert,
right.
Cliff in Urbana, as England falls to Iceland in Euro 2016. Wow. It's been a bad week for Great Britain.
Well, how about Argentina? Because Messi, I think, came out and said he's done. He's not going to play for them anymore. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then his kick against the United States when he bent, I guess bend like Beckham, bent it around and then went, that's unreal. That's it, though. That's all we talked about. But that's soccer.
That's our soccer talk here on the Tay and J Show.
22nd brought to you by.
Let's get to the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. Don't forget Monday is family night. Breadsticks, soft drinks, one large one-topping pizza, and 25 game tokens. Just $25 for families who dine in on Monday nights.
Mike Claiborne, I am coming down Saturday.
Oh, we lost
he's gone. Mike Claiborne, he's calling back. I think he's such a professional. He's calling us back.
Yeah, Mike Claiborne as our bi-weekly chats brought to you by Pekin Insurance, Auto, Home, Life, Business Insurance. Visit PekinInsurance.com.
Wonderful, wonderful claims as well. They can handle it.
And I mentioned it. Matt Carpenter is on one heck of a tear. He's only second in the OPS, on base plus slugging this year. The only player he's behind right now is David Ortiz. Wow. And from 2013 to 2016, only 5 players have better wins above replacement than Matt Carpenter. That's Manny Machado 5, Paul Goldschmidt 4, Andrew McCutchen 3, Josh Donaldson 2, and Mike Trout 1.
That is impressive company. Let's bring in Mike Claiborne now, KMOX Cardinal broadcast team. How are you, Mike?
I'm well. I know all those stats that he was reeling off. I don't know about any of that stuff, but I know he's playing real well right now. He's hitting 300 for the first time this year, and he is on a tear. There's no doubt about that.
It's hard.
I'm good. We're in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
And now, do you guys follow soccer at all?
Well, we were just talking about it. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'll save that comment then. I was just, let me get it out of my system. You know, I am so embarrassed for this country that our soccer program can't beat anybody when it counts. How is it that a country in Iceland who has an average temperature of 55 or below only 3 months out of the year, which means they got to be training somewhere, can beat England? How is that?
I agree.
Can't even beat the Kirkwood Fire Department.
We can't.
Because we're playing baseball, basketball, and football.
All
Mike.
of our good athletes are.
You know what, though? There's just too many Americans in this country. And I used to hear that argument, but Jeremy, they're not all 6'10". They're not all 250 pounds. What happened to the 6'2", 190-pound athlete?
Good point.
What happened to the guy who could run like the wind?
Yeah.
He's not playing the NBA. He's not playing the NFL.
No, and I've heard about it my entire life, how soccer's getting better. It has on the women's side.
To play.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the cheapest sport to play.
It's true. It's so true.
All right, I'm done with that.
You're done with soccer. Let's move on to baseball.
I'm done for another 4 years.
I mentioned the stats, and I think we talk about them a lot on this show. I know he's talked a lot in St. Louis, but when there's a list of 50 top players in baseball and Matt Carpenter's not on it, why is that?
Boy, I don't know who these people are who come up with these lists. I think they do it because they want to have a conversation like we're doing now.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Hall of Fame. I'm amused by the people who vote on the Hall of Fame induction who've never seen some of these guys play or won't vote on a guy because they didn't see him play. There's just too much information out there about people who aren't responsible for giving it in an objective manner. So, long answer to a short question, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. But Matt Carpenter, what a game he had yesterday in Seattle and what a season he's having. I guess Jeremy and I kind of have talked about this a little bit. How many hitters would you say in Major League Baseball are better than Matt Carpenter, and what he's been able to do to not only get on base, but now add power to his repertoire? It's amazing to me to see him. And keep contact.
Yeah, there aren't many. I think, though, he went through a little bit of a rut last year because when he swung for power, his strikeout total went up quite a bit. Now he's found a happy medium where he still looks to go long if it's there, but he now knows he can put it in play and he can bounce a few off the wall and go in with a stand-up double. So it's been a real interesting transformation for him over the last year with regard to what kind of player and what kind of hitter is he. I know Pete Rose thinks he's the best hitter in the game. Wow.
That's an impressive, that's nice when Pete Rose says that about you. Trevor Rosenthal, that was kind of the story of the weekend, Mike. He appears to be out.
What happened to him?
Isn't he out as the closer? Is O now the official closer, or do we know?
Oh, that's what everybody was talking about. He just won't assume the role for temporarily. I think he'll obviously get back to it. I don't think they can win if they don't have him.
Yeah.
I don't think the committee thing really works at this point because you have so many guys. If you take away from one area, then you're going to be short somewhere else. So I think he will have a chance to step away from it for a bit. And I think he'll certainly have an impact on this ball club before it's over with. Everybody's got their reason on what they think is wrong. I think personally that you have guys who work out so much and they're so strong that they lose feel, they lose control. And I'll give another example. I look at Arrieta. He's a guy who's gotten bigger and stronger, and I think his control isn't what it was this time last year. So I think you got a lot of situations where guys work out so much and they get so strong, and they think that's going to help them, but I think it really doesn't give them the feel for how they throw certain pitches.
Mike Matheny gave him a long leash. Why do you think that was, and how long is the leash for the next guy, likely O?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to this. He is their guy.
Okay.
There really isn't a plan B. There is just a 1A right now that they're working on to get him through this little bump in the road. Every closer has it happen in their career for one reason or another, and this is the first time he's dealt with this with any extended period of time. So I think you'll see him back in the fray here before too long. I mean, I can't put a date on it or anything, but I think that's something they're going to have to take a look at and figure out when can we get him in some prime spots to get his confidence going and to get his control back.
Fair enough.
He's Mike Claiborne, KMOX, brought to you by Pekin Insurance, Auto, Home, Life, Business Insurance. Visit PekinInsurance.com. Colt Wong back. He's playing a little bit of center, though Tommy Pham's been a nice addition as well. What have you thought about Wong in that role?
I think the jury's still out.
Mm-hmm.
He really hasn't played that position enough to actually be able to be a guy you can count on a regular basis. I think it's one of those things where it's a nice stopgap. But overall, I think you still have a lot of issues that you got to address. And plain and simple, this team's got too many players, and somebody's going to play themselves on the roster, and they're going to play themselves off the roster. It's just a matter of time. But I don't know if he's that good where he's going to take a job over Tommy Pham, who's been an outfielder all his life.
Right. What does that do? Mike, you're around these guys all year. What does that do for a kid like Colton to be sent down to Memphis? I assume that's jarring. And then to come back now, do you see a difference in a kid like Colton Wong when that happens? Or
yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think you do. The first thing you check to make sure the checks still are there on the 1st and 15th, and it's the same amount of money, which is going to be true. But I think in his case, they give him a bigger glove and point him to the outfield. That's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Especially when you didn't do it at any other point. Now they want you to do it on a big league level. And oh, by the way, let's start in Wrigley Field.
Yeah, right.
So it really messes with the psyche, and I hope he can weather this.
I do too.
And I know a lot of people who wouldn't. I think a lot of people would be bitter and angry in how it's been dealt with. But, he's a team guy, and I think he's a tough guy, and I think he's going to have to figure a way to make himself valuable. This is a team that diversity helps with regard to being able to play more than one position. And if you can do that, then you can find yourself in the lineup a lot more. And I always tell people it's not whether you start, just make sure you're in there when the game is at the end.
When it's key. Well, Randall Grichuk's kind of on the same path now, option to Memphis. What does he have to figure out?
Figure out how to recognize a strike.
Okay. That sounds too simple.
I mean, that's a pretty simple deal that he's complicated, and this isn't anything new, okay? This is one of the reasons why the Angels gave up on him, that and the fact he was injured a lot. He's just got to be better at pitch recognition,
right.
And if he's not, then he's going to be playing somewhere else.
He's Mike Claiborne, KMOX. So we start a cross-state, I guess, rivalry.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Royals being good adds a little juice to this thing. What do you make of this series, and is this amped up a little bit more?
I don't know if it's amped up, but, they have the same record, and they're dealing with the same issues we are, and that be an inconsistency. They got that World Series hangover working, man, and it's hard to recover, and they're trying to find their way. One of the things after you win that next year, there's always going to be one guy that's going to get off to a slow start. And then all of a sudden you got the domino effect taking place, and you got 2 or 3 guys that are trying to pull the weight of others, and all of a sudden you got teams going in the wrong direction. It's important to have veterans on your ball club that have seen this, and you kind of remain patient and take over some leadership with regard to how you handle this. And I think the Kansas City and the Cardinals are both going through the same thing.
What'd that sweep of the Cubs mean for this Cardinals team? It's only one series, but what do you think that meant?
Well, it gave them confidence. There's no doubt about that. But when you go to Chicago and win 3 and then give Seattle of them 2 back,
right?
You kind of wonder, and it almost typifies you as a 500 team. And I think that's what they are, to be honest with you, until something breaks through. And you're going to have those highs and lows, and until you figure out how you can be consistent at home. Their home record's under 500.
Correct.
That's where they're getting their brains beat out at. They got to find a way to temper that and get themselves back in a mode where playing at home is going to be a plus. I think they put too much pressure on themselves at home. I think they really get caught out of the element, more or less, of just how it works at home. There's a lot more family pressure and friends and everything else that, the ballpark is a sanctuary for you, but, man, there's just so many things you bring to the ballpark when you're at home compared to when you're on the road. All you do on the road is, get up whenever you need to, watch whatever you watch on TV, have a good breakfast or lunch, get ready to go to the ballpark.
I was going to ask you that, Mike, on the heels now of a trip to Chicago, then Seattle, now Kansas City. What take me through yesterday. That game ends yesterday. Do you guys immediately board the plane and head to Kansas City? And then what do these guys, today, what do these guys do to occupy time?
Well, we went right to the airport. We got in here at a reasonable time last night, a little after 11. So everybody was able to get a decent night's sleep. We stay in a different hotel than a lot of teams do, and I kind of like it. It's a little bit more off the beaten path. So, guys just kind of get their rest because the weather's going to change. It's going to be more humid than what we've been accustomed to in Seattle. So you got to, make sure you're hydrated and go back to the routine that you normally have when you're playing baseball in the Midwest in July.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I think the listeners probably get an idea and love to hear like what these guys do on their free time because there's a lot of free time for these Major League Baseball players.
And
sure.
You know what? It's funny you bring that up, Lon, because I know some people, those guys are carousing on the road. Are you nuts?
Right.
Even I try and get sleep on the road. Although I was glad to get out of Seattle, man. I went to that fish market, man, and I bought maybe a fishing boat. I bought so much fish and shrimp and salmon and lobster tails. Ooh. And I called a couple of buddies and, I showed them one picture. The fish was so fresh, he still had the hook in his mouth. So, they wanted to buy stuff. So $2,500 later. Wow. Let's put it this way. There's going to be some homes in St. Louis who are going to have some good seafood come Thursday when they ship it out on Wednesday night.
I love it. Mike Claiborne taking care of the St. Louis area. I want to ask you a blues question here. I went down to Nashville, Tennessee this weekend and had a good time with some college buddies. Oh, great. But I woke up Saturday and I'm like, wait a minute. The Blues traded Elliott?
Did the Blues get drunk?
Right. I know I did. Did the Blues get drunk? So what do you make of that?
I think you know what? They didn't want to go through another goaltender competition like they've done in the past. And, Brian Elliott has done a heck of a job in that role. And he deserved a chance to be a starter. And they did him a favor. They moved him to Calgary. And Calgary's a good team. And he'll do well for them. And I just think that they wanted to make sure that Jake Allen was unencumbered with regard to his development. They got a kid in the minors that they got in the Washington Capitol deal, and his name escapes me, but he had a heck of a training camp, and he had a pretty good minor league season. So I think they feel like he can compete for the backup spot, and they'll be okay.
Fair enough.
Plus, they wanted to make sure they save some money in the event that they want to try and sign both Brouwer and Backus. They're trying to find some cap money somewhere.
Yeah. Are you shocked Shattenkirk's still on this team right now?
Yeah, I am. But, here's a bigger story. You had 6 kids from St. Louis get drafted in the first round.
That's unreal. It is. It's Keith Kachuk's son, right?
To what's going on in St. Louis with regard to hockey.
That is crazy. I know. I saw Keith Kachuk's son was one of Matt, I think.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, he was taken by, I believe, Calgary.
Wow.
So, it's a good developmental city. And I was on with a radio show this morning. I know Detroit used to be very good with this sort of youth hockey. And I think St. Louis made a real statement that maybe we ought to build a couple of these smaller rinks and have these major tournaments come to St. Louis and maybe be a showcase city.
It's impressive, no doubt about it. Well, Mike, you're in Kansas City now. I don't know if you wake up sometimes and wonder where you're at, but that's where you're at.
Yeah, you know what I do? I take the phone book out at night and put it on the floor.
Just to remember.
Just to roll over and say, okay, you're now in Sing Sing. That's a whole different thing.
Hold on, we don't want to go there. Mike Claiborne, KMOX Cardinal broadcast team. You'll hear him tonight. You'll hear it right here on ESPN 93.5. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll do it soon.
All right, man. Hey, you guys have a good holiday if I don't talk to you beforehand, and be safe up there.
Hey, and I'm coming down Saturday, by the way, Mike.
Oh, you are? Well, come by and see us.
I'll try. I don't know what time.
Are you going to bring a whole battalion of people like you always do?
No.
You're try and come on your own this time.
We've kind of slowed it down. There's going to be a couple buddies of me and myself coming down.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, right.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if I'll probably be coming by there.
Well, I'm just going to, Gene and Lucas are always welcome.
But not me.
You, on the other hand, you should call ahead.
Fair enough. Hey, I'll text you when I get down there, though.
Looking forward to seeing you. Jeremy, take care.
All right, buddy. Mike Claiborne, KMOX, Course Cardinal broadcast team. And as always, brought to you by Pekin Insurance. We do it bi-weekly. Or no, not bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Every other week. Yeah, bi-weekly. Same thing.
I got more soccer news.
Do you really?
More soccer talk.
You want to tease it?
The English? No.
Oh, no.
I just want to get this out.
Just get it out
with
there.
Our lives. Roy Hodgson.
Oh, yeah, I know. Roy.
Has resigned as England's manager.
Well,
like 20 minutes after they lose a match, he's resigned.
I assume
the most embarrassing match they've ever lost, and he resigns right away. I got to give the English and Britons credit for this.
Yeah.
when something goes bad, they just go, okay, I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah.
David Cameron? All right, next day. Done.
Want nothing to do with this anymore. No, they don't fight it out. They don't stick around, do they? They're out. What a job by Iceland,
that's
though.
Canadian.
No, that was Canadian. I'm sorry. They're out. I kept doing that down in Nashville. Organization. Iceland. How is Iceland good at soccer?
I don't think they are. I think that's the problem.
Okay. They're just kind of Copa America is done.
Hey, Jerry Hester is going to join us hopefully in the 5 o'clock hour, about 5:45. He's now the former Illini Radio Network analyst. Did a great job for about a decade on the Illini Radio Network. We'll talk to him about that. But I have a list of guys who could be great candidates.
Okay.
To be the next Illini Radio Network analyst.
Am I going to get drilled on this list, or do I get to partake in this?
No,
okay, good.
I want you to react.
Okay.
And if people want to weigh in, if you have an idea of who you want to be the next Illini Radio Network analyst, you can text us at 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Hey, Cardinal fans, make sure you make your way to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Cardinals take on the Milwaukee Brewers and the Pittsburgh Pirates, and those games are loaded with great promotions. Friday, July 1st, it's the Replica 1926 World Series Championship Ring Giveaway, presented by Edward Jones. Stay in your seat, it's a Cooper Tires fireworks night. Saturday, July 2nd, the Adult Replica Matt Carpenter batting practice jersey, presented by Ford. On Sunday, July 3rd, it's the Cardinals Cooler Backpack, presented by Coca-Cola. And on Monday, the 4th of July, when the Pirates are in town, it's the Cardinals Pillbox Baseball Cap. That's all coming up July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The 1926 World Series Championship Ring, a fireworks night, the Adult Replica Matt Carpenter batting practice jersey, a Cardinals Cooler Backpack, and the Cardinals Pillbox Baseball Cap. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
As the leader in fire protection and security systems for industrial, commercial, and residential buildings, Matco features exceptional protection. Matco installs, maintains, and inspects fire sprinklers, alarms, CCTV, security systems, and access-controlled systems. Their vigilance is a must-have priority to protect your assets. Matco's digital monitoring and veteran personnel are your best security investment. Their 24-hour emergency service ensures that you are covered at all times. Contact Matco at matcofire.com.
My name is Roosevelt. I always thought that cigarette smoking just messed up your lungs. I never thought that at only 45 would give me a heart attack. And I never thought that it would change my life forever. My tip is, do your heart a favor and quit now.
Heart attack risk drops as soon as you quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
It's the ultimate engagement. It's Tay and J's Take a Knee contest powered by Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign. Listen to me and Jeremy weekday afternoons between 3 and 6. When we open the phone lines, call us at 359-2255. Answer a series of questions, and we'll enter you for a chance to win an engagement ring and the ultimate engagement. Then we'll let our audience vote on who should win. Get a full list of rules and details at ESPNCU.com today.
When you're heading home, Tay and Jay are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 6, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's time for the update. Illini football, Pro Football Focus released its top 101 players for the 2016 college football season, and an Illini made the list. That man is defensive end number 91, DeJuan Smoot, who's ranked 20th overall and is projected first-round pick. Last year, Smoot racked up 8 sacks and was graded as the 8th best pass rusher in the country. Football recruiting dead period starts today. That means no contact of any kind with recruits until July 10th. Nice little 2-week break. 5-star big man Jeremiah Tillman visited the Illini this Saturday. The number 1 recruit in the state said he just chilled on campus with my family. Sounds like a good day to me. 247 Sports listed as a 50% chance he commits. MLB tonight, the Cardinals start a 4-game home-and-home series with their AL state rival, Kansas City Royals. Adam Wainwright goes up against lefty Danny Duffy. Wainwright had a terrible start, but in his last 7 starts, he's lasted at least 6 innings and allowed 3 or fewer runs in all but one of them. Duffy's been solid since moving into the rotation in mid-May. He's 2-1 with a 3.38 ERA, but he's been roughed up recently, giving up 6 runs in his last 9 2/3. After a 1-6 week, the Cubs lost their title of best team in baseball to the Rangers. They head to Cincinnati tonight to face a Reds team that really doesn't want to see them. So far this year, they're 6-1 against the broken-down Red Machine and have outscored them 60-20. Ace Jake Arrieta faces Dan Straley to try and start another winning streak. The Cubs optioned young lefty Gerardo Concepcion back down to AAA and brought up veteran righty Joel Peralta to try and shore up the bullpen. White Sox are off today after winning 5 of their last 7. They head to Minnesota tomorrow to face a bad Twins team in hopes to keep their winning ways going. Still 5 Cubs, Molina, Harper, and Cespedes in the All-Star game voting right now. NBA, everyone saw it coming. Now it's official. Pau Gasol, he's out of there. Carmelo, he likes the D-Rose trade a lot.
Nice.
And Fred Hoiberg, he called Robin Lopez by his brother's name. So that's
not a good start.
Are you kidding me?
No, he did it. He did it.
Oh, well. Why do I just see that Fred Hoiberg thing just crashing to a fiery end?
I think he's a good coach.
Yeah. I think maybe his next stop will be
maybe
A-okay.
It'll probably be back in college. Hey, we're giving away a $1,500 credit toward the engagement ring of your choice.
Nice.
Yes, custom or in stock, ESPN CU will help make your proposal perfect on Christopher and Company and ESPN 93.5. We're doing the Take a Knee contest.
Sweet.
And we're going to take another contestant today. You can get qualified to win that $1,500 credit. We might hook you up with flowers and dinner as well to make that engagement perfect. We'll open up the phone lines later this show. And if you're the correct caller, answer some questions about your future fiance, hopefully. And once all the contestants have been chosen, podcasts of the contestants' answers will be posted at ESPNCU.com. Listeners will then vote once per device for their favorite guy. So just come on with us, have a little fun. We'll give you the questions before you come on, so you got a little time to think of the answers. Just fun questions, but the more fun you have, the more likely people will vote for it.
Totally agree. And it's a good time, and we'll do that again coming up here soon.
$1,500. I could have used that.
Well, right.
Could have used that back.
Well, I mean, like all of us.
Yeah.
That's just a head start in life for that low. I mean, you know that's an expense you have in life.
Yeah.
Like females growing up, like I'm glad I wanted a daughter. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have had a daughter. But there's so many expenses I didn't have to worry about or don't have to worry about with a daughter. Like the wedding, prom.
You're still cheap then for the wedding.
I agree. But just a lot of that. And then, but for the dude, like growing up, I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to buy a ring. It's a lot of money.
Are you complaining right now?
Not at all. Not at all. I was excited to.
You also didn't have to give birth to 2 kids.
That is correct.
I think that's a fair trade-off.
That's a very fair trade. Very fair.
I think that's a terrible trade for her, but I'm just saying that.
Hey, we visited with Ryan Watt, bpwrigleyville.com at 3:45. Talked Cubs baseball with Ryan. The Cubbies have lost, they went 1-6 last week. And then Mike Claiborne, of course, joined us at 4:05 to talk St. Louis Cardinals. Randall Grichuk still down in Memphis. I'm anxious to see when he's going to get called up and what'll happen. I mean, there's not a lot of room.
Make contact
on that roster.
I'd rather have Tommy Pham.
Yes, I agree with you. It's nice to have him in the lineup.
We'll also talk with Jerry Hester, hopefully in the 5 o'clock hour on 5:45. The former Illini Radio Network analyst. He's stepping down after about a decade on the job. Hadn't covered a lot of great Illinois teams. I feel bad for Jerry for that, but it's going to be basically family reasons, business reasons that he's stepping down. He said he thought about it last year, but did one more year for Illinois. So now they have a search to find who the next guy is. I'll just ask you, Lon, off the top of your head, who's a guy or two you'd really like?
I hate to do this because you wrote the article and it was a great article, but there's one guy that would be, it's a no-brainer to me, and it's Sean Harrington. The only issue is Sean lives in Florida.
Yeah.
And you talk about travel problems, maybe not problems, but having to take time to do this.
With a young family.
Yeah, I just don't think he'll do it.
Right. Yeah, I think 2 years ago, this is the perfect job for Sean.
Yes.
This would have been the perfect job for Sean. I doubt he'd move to Florida if he had this job.
Right. No, I agree.
Right now,
totally.
This is right up his alley, what he would have liked. Timing is everything.
Yep.
And traveling, these are 2-day trips for him. if he's going to be from Florida.
Absolutely.
And Sean makes trips for ESPN and all that, but this job doesn't pay as well.
No.
It's an ESPN kind of job. So Sean, I think, will continue to do the ESPN. I think he'd love to do this job. I just don't think the logistics make sense. But if you talk about the guy who's got the experience at the Big Ten Network,
no doubt.
ESPN, the guy who knows the game, a guy who knows Illinois, knows the Big Ten, and is really polished at his job, Sean would have been the ideal candidate if it weren't for where he lives.
He's perfect. And every time he joins us and we're lucky to have him every week, every time he joins us, he says something about basketball that I learned. And I've been around the game of basketball my entire life. I played it, not at that high of a level, but I played it. And he says something every time that just captures me. I'm like, whoa, I never even thought of that. He would be perfect for that. And also a guy that coached. Don't forget that. So he not only played, but he also has that. He could go with that kind of a role of saying, well, listen, as a coach right now, here's what you're wanting to do. And he actually did that.
Another guy who's got a great resume and I think would be the biggest name draw on this list would be Kendall Gill.
He'd be fine too.
Kendall lives up in Chicago, obviously, but he's got the Comcast Sportsnet Bulls job pre, half, and post game, and that's going to take precedence.
Sure.
So if you had Kendall, you'd have to have someone else doing a couple of games, I believe, as well. And I just think Kendall will stay with that NBA job.
Fair
I think that's his biggest passion. He loves Illinois.
Sure.
He's kept in touch with this, but that's a guy that you might want to talk to at the very least, because fans would be like, Kendall Gill.
Oh, without a doubt. To me, Kendall's kind of outgrown it, and I don't mean for that to be bad.
That's like if Bardo came back.
Right.
I doubt he'll do that because he's doing Fox Sports and doing national games. Right?
It's nothing against Illinois. It's nothing against us as fans, and I mean myself.
Economics too.
You're right, and economics.
Is
That's
it
correct.
worth it?
That's correct. So I think Kendall would be great, but I think he's kind of outgrown that.
All right, here's a couple guys that I think would be interesting. Hardly any experience on these guys. Trent Meacham.
Be interesting.
Still playing overseas. He retired and then decided to go back and play in France for a really good team. He's shown an interest in broadcasting. I know he's been on the radio before, and it kind of fit the career arc of Jerry Hester, who stopped playing overseas and went right into the radio business. Trent knows the game pretty well. He's unproven on the radio, but I think he would like to move back to this area, so the logistics would make a lot of sense for him and his wife, too.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great call. I think Trent Meacham would do a great job. We've had him on our air once or twice, and I thought he did fine. And I'm sure with any of these guys, it's going to be, well, not Harrington or Kendall, but it's going to be a transition. The first year you hear him is not going to be as well or as good as the next year you hear him, and you just have to give him that. But I think Trent Meacham obviously would know the game well enough, and he could bring not only it's a local vibe, whereas Kendall and Sean, I mean, they didn't have that local feel as well that Trent Meacham would be able to bring.
Sam Maniscalco.
That'd be cool.
A kid we know well, does really well when we bring him on. He loves basketball, loves the NBA a lot, but he's the kid I remember talking to when he was in school and he wanted to get into broadcasting. That's part of why I brought him on the show. But he would love this job.
He would.
And he's in the Chicago area, so he could make the trips down here. Obviously, he's unproven as a color analyst during games, but he's a really bright player. Doesn't have the Illini ties that most of these guys have, right? He played 1 year, was an injury-filled year, but I think Sam's got a decent potential as a broadcaster.
I do too, and I think he would dive into it as much as anybody.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and again, nothing against these other guys. I think they'd all be great. I think Sam would be that kid that would just absolutely give 100% to
kind of like Sean. Sean breaks down so much.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Yes, he does. And I think Sam Maniscalco would do that, and I think he would love to be around it. It's obvious he loves the game and he likes the NBA, and we have him on to talk that, but he's also really up to speed on Illinois, and I think he would be great at breaking things down. I really like that perspective. It's kind of like when we talk about catchers always make good managers, I think guards would make good color comments. Yeah,
point guards.
I think they would. I think they see the court.
I got a good one for you. I think he'd be very popular. Robert Archibald.
Oh, yes.
I think Robert would have interest too.
I think that would be great.
He lives up in the northwest suburbs. He loves basketball. He's watched the Illini closely.
He stays a lot, yes.
He's knowledgeable, and he's got a personality. Yes. He's got a humor to it as well. I think he'd be really interesting, and he runs an insurance agency.
Right,
so he's got a little bit of flexibility in doing that, and I think it'd actually probably even help him a little bit.
Sure.
Because he runs the insurance agency, get his name out there a little bit. bit, but Arch would be, he's an intriguing one for me.
Well, and he's got a little bit of the accent too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
who doesn't like the Scottish?
Absolutely.
Though it's kind of Americanized now.
It has. But he is, you said it best, you hit it best, humor. I think Arch would be the funniest of all these guys. I think he would see the funny side of a lot of things, although I think he could really get critical as well.
I mean, this guy played on an Olympic team.
Right.
This guy played in some of the best leagues overseas. Yep. He played in the NBA for a couple of years, so obviously the basketball knowledge is there.
That's a great call on Arch.
Got a couple guys who just got out of the coaching business.
Okay.
Nate Mast.
Nady Mast.
Lives in Central Illinois, now works in the insurance agency, played for Lon Kruger and Bill Self, Champaign native.
Right.
Just stepped down from Southern Illinois a year and a half ago. Hometown kid, knows the game. We've had him on the show, did well at Parkland.
He did.
He'd be an interesting guy.
I'd be interested to know if he'd be interested in it.
Yeah.
Does that make
sure.
sense? I don't picture Nate as a guy that would want that job. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Nate that well. But
I think he lives in Mount Vernon now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see him as a kid that would maybe just say, yep, that's what I want to do. I want to do this.
I think most of these guys are pretty interested in
that's true.
Being around the game.
Well, and it would
especially when it's like the Illinois job.
Right. And I agree. And I think any of them would feel good to even if Illinois reached out to him. I think they'd feel good. Nate Mast, interesting.
How about this one for you, Lon? Deion Thomas.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He recently stepped down from UIC, not going to coach anymore. He kind of wants to be around the Illinois basketball program.
Yes, he does.
We know that. He's very unproven.
Right.
I don't know how critical he would be because Deion's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
That would be my fear.
He'd be very positive, maybe overly positive at times, but he'd be an easy and enjoyable listen.
Doesn't he make sense in this regard? If I'm listening to let's say an Iowa Hawkeye or an Indiana Hoosier.
You went to Iowa right away.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. I'm sorry, Deion. When I listen to some of these other schools and they have, like, that guy, like this guy is our announcer, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. He's one of the best players ever. Deion would be that.
Is it Terry? Where's Terry Mills from?
Well, he played at Michigan. He was on the team, right?
He's like, I see him and I go, that's Terry Mills.
That's him.
Yeah, 6'10", 400 pounds of Terry Mills coming your way.
He was on that 89 team that knocked off Illinois in the Final Four. I think Deion would be great. He's soft-spoken. That'd be interesting.
Well, he's got that higher pitched voice.
He does.
But it's so easy and enjoyable because he's the nicest guy in the world.
I think he and Brian Barnhart would hit it off well.
Yes.
I think that'd be a great team. That's a great list.
Somebody gave me this name as well. I was asking
You're
around.
Right, though, about Deion. He can't be critical.
Well, that'd be interesting.
It would be.
See if he could be.
I think it'd be hard for him to be.
Corey Bradford.
Ooh.
Corey? I was told, Corey wants to play until he's about 50.
Yeah.
He wants to hoop until he's 50.
Yes, he does.
But he's got a high IQ about basketball. Obviously, he's loved around here. And at some point, he's got to think of the post-basketball career. I mean, he's made decent money. He's down in Columbia the last I saw that he was playing.
Yeah, we talked to him. Remember?
Yeah. And obviously, people remember him fondly. But I was just told Corey Bradford would be really good at the job.
That would be cool. And he's got that Southern accent a little bit. I don't know if he still has that now that he's been traveling the world, if he still has that. But Corey, I think he'd be a good kid. I think he'd be really good at that job. That's a great list.
A 217 texter, Lucas Johnson.
Oh, my.
Heard him at Rebounders. Funny guy.
Oh, he'd be hilarious.
I mean, he's got a busy job.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, you know what? He's teaching now.
Is he teaching now?
I think he's teaching. I think I saw that on Facebook that he went back. I don't know if he went back to school, but I think he's teaching now.
Yeah.
And he'd be the perfect, wouldn't he be the best?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to get to school. I'm in Mr. Johnson's class.
Somebody asked me, what kind of money does this gig pay? Not that much.
Not much.
I mean, you get paid.
Yeah.
You get paid.
Well, that's like when we were joking around about me being the PA announcer. I don't think it would pay enough to be able to eat that many nights of my life.
You need another job to do this job.
You would. You do.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Jerry has. I mean, all these other guys have had different jobs as well.
Totally correct. That would be interesting with Lucas Johnson. No. Just no. We're not doing it with Lucas. Now, his brother Brian would be great at it. No, I'm kidding. We need to have Lucas on again.
Yeah, have him
a nice little
on.
run with Lucas.
359-2255, 217-359-2255 if you want to weigh in. Illinois football has one of the more talented players in college football, and I don't think enough Illini fans know about it. We'll talk about that next.
Okay, and also, I carried on the Tay tradition.
Ooh.
And I want to tell you what it was when I return when we return. It's the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
None of us can predict the future, but that doesn't mean we can't prepare for it. How will your family survive when you're gone? And how do you know if you have enough life insurance? Beacon Insurance makes it easy with their convenient life insurance calculator. Visit www.beaconinsurance.com/life calculator. Then talk to your local independent Beacon Insurance agency about a life insurance policy that will give you peace of mind and keep your family financially stable in the future. Life insurance from Beacon Insurance always goes beyond the expected.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com.
Experience what makes Eastland Suites the best.
Like unique accommodations for guests who need extended stays. Full kitchens, patio and balcony access, and grills in the courtyard for cookouts.
Extended stay guests also love the free Wi-Fi, fitness center, and complimentary hot buffet breakfast.
And Tanya, don't forget about the full-service lobby bar, large swimming pool, and the free shuttle, and the...
Experience the best. Experience Eastland Suites. Book online at eastlandsuitesurbana.com.
The Snyder Company.
Hi, I'm Gary Knight from Carmack Honda in Danville. Just 40 years ago, Carmack Honda delivered our first 1976 Honda Accord and has been recognized as an award-winning family sedan ever since. Safety, dependability, and fuel efficiency make people love their Hondas, and Cub fans love their Cubbies, and only a way Cub fans can believe. So when you're shopping for a new Honda, believe in Carmack Honda to get you the very best price, service, and selection. Check us out today at CarmackHonda.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
The Champaign County Freedom Celebration invites you to experience one of Champaign County's longest-running traditions. On the 4th of July, with the theme Celebrate America and 50 years of student success, with Dr. Tom Ramage, Parkland College president, as this year's Grand Marshal for the parade that steps off at 11:05. And the 5K race and walk starts at 9:05, with the evening program at 7 and the fireworks around 9:15. Find out more about volunteer opportunities or how to donate. July4th.net.
This August,
another strong finish by Phelps.
For the first time ever.
And it's a Gabby gold.
The spirit of the Olympic Games comes to life.
Usain Bolt still the king of 100.
In one of the world's most dazzling cities, Rio. The one event that unites the world. The 2016 Olympic Games from Rio. Beginning August 5th on NBC.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Put CMI in your circle of trust. Their team of janitorial supply and equipment specialists want to help you and your business. Call 359-6262 today or visit CMIClean.com and see how their expertise can make a positive difference in your daily operations. CMI offers janitorial equipment, cleaning, and green certified products as well, along with warewashing and laundry products. Plus, they're female-owned and operated. Call 359-6262 or online at CMIClean.com.
Tay and J Show, Lonte, Jeremy Warner. Somebody texted in the Chief Bauer text line that you... Ooh, I want to hear that little... that you should do the color commentary for Fighting Illini basketball.
No.
I think you would do a good job.
I don't know the game.
Yeah,
as well.
I know what you're saying. I think you need to know the game better.
I have thoughts.
Sure.
I have thoughts on basketball. I know the game a little bit, but a guy like Harrington or Maniscalco or Archer, they can go back to their experience.
Correct.
There's just certain things that I don't know about basketball. I try to know as much about basketball. Lauren Tate did it for a really long time, and he did a great job.
I agree.
Me personally, I'd like to find the mix of a guy who has thoughts and, isn't afraid to be candid of what he really thinks. But I also think a guy that played basketball, knows those situations, has been through those wars. That's why you have athletes doing those jobs, and usually they're the best at their jobs. You just can't get somebody because of their name. You gotta get the best person for the job, the person who paints the game better than anyone else.
I think Sean Harrington would be perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. All right, so before we get to your football player, I want to tell you about my tradition. When I was a young lad, my dad would always go fishing down at Reelfoot, Tennessee, and every year on the way back, my brother and I could not wait for him to pull into the driveway. Not that we didn't want to see Dad. We were excited about Dad being home. Kinda. Yeah. It's like, did you bring fireworks? And so in the back, he'd open up the truck, and sure enough, there'd be just bricks of Black Cat and Lady Fingers and bottle rockets.
Like the actual firework, not actual lady fingers.
No, the actual small little firecracker. And that's those things. Yeah. You put that in a shad, that'll blow that about 10 feet. I'm sorry. Sorry for all you animal. So we just every year. So on the way back from Nashville, I was hungry for Taco Bell, of course. So I see a Taco Bell sign. I pull off. I pull into Taco Bell, and right next to it is this huge tent with fireworks. And I'm like, boom. I'm going to be that dad now. I'm going to be that guy. So I go in there, and I spent over $200 on these fireworks, and the guy just kept selling me things. Yeah. He's like, hey, if you buy $50 worth, you get this, and then if you do this, and I got an idea, and I'm like, pretty soon, I'm like, where are we at right now? So we
got a fireworks bundle there.
Right. So he's like sitting there totaling it all up.
Good businessman.
And I'm like, what's this little box here? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I'm going to throw a box in for you. And I'm like, what are these things? He's like, those little pop-it things or something that kids do?
Yeah.
He's like, that's the adult version. So I get home and I call the boys and I'm like, you've got to see this. So they come out and they're looking at it and they are just so geeked up. They can't wait, especially Andrew.
Yeah.
So I take this box out and I'm like, I think this is supposed to be the adult version of these little pop things. And
the things you throw at the ground and they go.
Yeah. I'm not saying it right.
Sure, I know. I knew what you're talking about.
I did this. And I think, I bet people in Philo thought somebody was shooting a gun. It is so loud. I'm like, holy cow.
We had our baby shower on Saturday.
I got him in the truck.
Yeah.
At the next commercial, we got to go out and see this. Okay. I want you to see this. They are awesome.
You probably shouldn't have said that on air.
That's true.
Because it might be illegal.
Ooh.
Is it illegal to...
That was my question, because I put this on Facebook, and I'm like, is it illegal?
I think it's illegal to set them off.
Okay.
I don't think it's illegal to possess them.
Okay, right. I mean, surely
they can't
not.
stop you from possessing them.
Well, if they do, then I guess come and get me. I don't know what to say.
You got me.
Right.
You got me.
But it's down in Marshall, we've got a little farm down there that hardly anybody lives by. So I think the boys and I might head over there Monday and just fire those things off. Nice. I can't wait. But I asked that question. I'm like, is this even legal to shoot these things?
I think there's bigger issues in the world than
I agree with you.
Fireworks. They're trying to protect you from yourself.
Correct.
As long as you know the risk.
Right. I got it.
Don't blow a hand off.
I know the risk.
Pinky like Jason Pierre-Paul.
Well, right. That was the big thing last year.
Speaking of pass rushers, look at that transition.
Yes, that was really
good. Illinois fans, I hope they understand that they have one of the best players in college football. They have one of the better defenders in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at today's list. Pro Football Focus released the top 101 college football players, and there's an Illinois player at number 20.
That's unbelievable.
DeJuan Smoot.
Okay.
Last year, breakout year, 15 tackles for loss, 8 sacks.
Wow.
Here's what Pro Football Focus had to say. Smoot had a dominant run through the Big Ten, finishing the season with 8 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, and 45 hurries on 349 plays on his way to the 8th best pass rush grade in the country.
Wow.
He beat offensive tackles to the outside at the 4th highest rate in the country and complemented it with an ability to get inside and bull rush at a healthy rate as well. Smoot's best game came against Ohio State as he notched 10 total pressures on only 28 rushes. All part of a second-half run that saw him post the top pass rushing grade in the nation from Week 6 to the end of the regular season.
Unreal.
That's all in the Big Ten, people.
Yes.
Against the run, Smoot can do a better job at recognizing concepts, but overall he played well to finish at a respectable +8 grade against the run. He is a top prospect in the NFL drafts. NFL scouts have been calling about him since the end of the year. He's got the size at about 6'3", 265, and he's got the burst. He's got that great combination. He had a breakout season. Illinois coaches have been, especially the guys who had him, Al Simonson, the outside linebackers coach, have been saying for a while, this kid could be great. And last year, he had a great year. I talked with DeJuan last week. I have a story up on IlliniInquirer.com about DeJuan because he's starting to realize that it's real, that I could be an NFL prospect, and he seems to be embracing the expectations.
Cool is that?
He seems to be like, okay, I know it's there. Now I got to produce. I got to help us win games. I got to produce on the field. And of course, now without Jihad Ward there, he's going to have a little bit more attention. He's not a surprise anymore.
No, not at all.
But, I mean, Carroll Phillips is a good pass rusher, and Chunky Clements is an NFL player, most likely an NFL draft pick. Rob Bain is a pretty good player as well. Jamel President helps them out. Jamal Milan helps them out. This defensive line could be pretty good in the Big Ten. It needs DeJuan Smoot to be great, but he was great. At the end of last year, those last 7 weeks, those stats said DeJuan Smoot is the best pass rusher returning in the Big Ten.
That is amazing.
And that makes everybody else a lot better. So you have a real dude.
You do.
A real dude on that defense. And Hardy Nickerson is likely going to be drafted in the NFL. Chunky Clements is likely to be drafted in the NFL. Defense is the strength next year.
Big time.
And Smoot's a huge part of it.
Well, and he'll come off the end, right? He'll come off the defensive end. You'll have what, Chunky and Bain in the middle. And then, of course, on the other end would be Carroll Phillips. Basically, that's your
and
four.
Jamel President.
And, of course, you'll have him.
It's all rotations, right?
Right. 15, I didn't realize those numbers last year, 15 and 8. I didn't realize that.
He's the best on the team.
And a lot of times you worry about, all right, you had your moment. Now, can you continue to do that?
Why is it that
I think you
people
see
don't
it
talk
sometimes.
about him?
I don't know. I was going to ask you because I don't. I mean, I talk about Illinois sports all the time. I don't think I realize how good he is. It's hard for us to evaluate that.
Right.
I mean,
he had 8 sacks.
Yeah.
Which was top 8 in the Big Ten last year.
We talked all about Jihad Ward. And we hardly,
I thought Smoot had a better
year
season.
That's unreal.
Jihad Ward was a different kind of player too.
Sure.
I mean, Iowa, Smoot had big stats. I thought Ward actually had a better game.
Okay.
But throughout the rest of the year, I thought Smoot was the better player, and Jihad Ward went 45th overall in the draft. Pro Football Focus projects Smoot to go number 18.
Wow.
In the NFL draft. Roto World projects Smoot to go number 10.
Holy
overall.
smokes.
When you talk about pass rushing, that is what teams are looking for on defense, and Smoot has that kind of ability.
It will be awesome if he and the rest of this defense, that front, can shut down some running games and also get to quarterbacks.
Well, I think that's the question, is running games.
Correct.
I think they can get after quarterbacks with Carroll Phillips and Smoot and Chunky, because I think all those guys are better pass rushers than run defenders. But yes, they got to take that next step.
They do.
And for me, most of my questions, because you got Hardy Nickerson, because Julian Jones is coming back, I think James Crawford's in for a nice year at that weak side linebacker position, and your front four is really good, at least for one more year.
I agree.
And then it gets really bad.
Then it's really
I think if you have that kind of front seven, your secondary is going to be a lot better. And I think there's enough talent in the secondary where you can succeed with Barton, Jalen Dunlap. Offensively, I have most of the questions.
Okay.
But Illinois was a top 36 defense last year in the country.
Was it really? You know what? Correct. And Tim
how
Banks,
bad your offense was?
Tim Banks told us they would be. He told us they would be, and he lived up to it.
I mean, your offense was one of the worst in the country, and your defense was the reason you had a chance.
That's crazy.
In most of those games. So, yeah, I think the defense has to have a big year.
That's exciting.
And Smoot has to have a big year, but they're capable of it.
Yeah.
And he could be the first round pick. He says he wants to be an All-American. He said, that's my goal.
That's cool.
Is to be an All-American and help my team win games. He'd be the first Illini All-American and first first round draft pick since Whitney Merciless.
Wow.
I mean, he's capable of having that kind of year. It's just he needs other guys to help him out too.
Well, that's good to hear. And I can't wait to see that front four in action. And hopefully, and I mean this, hopefully knocking the run down a little bit. That's what I'd like to see.
We got Drive Time coming up next. We'll also hopefully talk with Jerry Hester, former Illini Radio Network analyst.
Nice.
We'll also take our first contestant in the Take and Eat contest. Your chance to win a $1,500 credit for an engagement ring of your choice at Chris Fern Company.
Okay, and by the way, I think it is like violating this whatever Pyrotechnic Use Act. 1 year in prison, $2,500 fine. I will not be setting those fireworks off. It's the Tay and J Show. I probably will.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors is one of the area's largest growers of annuals and perennials, and they're now all on sale. All spring annuals are 30% off. Hanging baskets, flats, proven winners, all 30% off until they're gone. If you need some color in your yard, you'll never find annuals this nice for this cheap. Locally grown right here in Urbana. Tens of thousands to choose from, all 30% off. Our perennials are also buy 5 or more and we'll give you 10% off. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery for the big summer flower sale. You can find out more information and directions at countryarbors.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
This August,
Another strong finish by Phelps.
for the first time ever,
And it's a Gabby gold.
the spirit of the Olympic Games comes to life
Usain Bolt still the king of the 100.
in one of the world's most dazzling cities, Rio. The one event that unites the world. The 2016 Olympic Games from Rio, beginning August 5th on NBC.
Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com. Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com. Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis
Exiting
Cardinals.
the markets over the UK vote to exit the European Union. The Dow down 261, the NASDAQ off 114. At the White House, questions over what comes next as Secretary of State John Kerry visits London and Brussels.
Despite political turmoil and the roller coaster plunges on financial markets after the United Kingdom voted to leave the EU, White House spokesman Eric Schultz says,
our expectation and our priority is on making sure it's a orderly process, it's organized, it's transparent.
And as for the relationship between the U.S. and UK, Schultz says the president believes the links between the two countries transcend politicians and the relationship will endure. Secretary of State John Kerry's been talking with UK and EU leaders, warning that the UK's departure would have consequences.
This is Jill Nadeau reporting. Cadaver dogs searching the burned debris from hundreds of destroyed homes destroyed by a deadly wildfire in Central California. Fox's Gernal Scott has the latest live.
Jane, only 2 people have died as a result of the fire thus far, an elderly couple trying to escape. Firefighters did get some relief as winds took the fire away from threatened neighborhoods, but Kern County Fire Chief Brian Mitchell says it's still raging.
It's burning in steep, rugged terrain south of Lake Isabella, but air assets, the air tankers, the helicopters, ground-based hand crews are working on it.
The fire is less than halfway contained. A state of emergency is freeing up resources to help fight the blaze, Jane.
Thanks, Gernal. In West Virginia, Governor Earl Ray Tomblin says flooding damaged thousands of homes and businesses. 23 confirmed dead, but 2 men who are missing and presumed dead found alive. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Texas says the nation's highest court took away his state's authority to regulate the health and safety of women. Greg Abbott responding to a ruling that struck down provisions of a new Texas abortion law.
In a 5-3 decision today, the Supreme Court struck down a Texas law requiring abortion clinics to meet minimum surgical center standards and mandating that doctors performing abortions have hospital admitting privileges within 30 miles. Writing for the majority, Justice Stephen Breyer said the regulations would provide few, if any, health benefits for women while creating an undue burden on their ability to access abortion. In his dissent, Justice Clarence Thomas said the majority bent the rules in order to guarantee a win for abortion advocates.
Fox's Shannon Bream pleading guilty to several financial crimes, the star of the TV reality show Dance Moms.
Abby Lee Miller could see jail time after pleading guilty on 20 counts of fraud and a new charge of violating currency reporting laws. Miller was charged last fall with illegally trying to hide $775,000 worth of income from the Lifetime Network reality show during her Chapter 11 bankruptcy. She was also accused of dividing more than $120,000 into plastic bags and having others in her group put those money bags in their luggage so she could avoid reporting the currency. Miller last week issued a statement accepting responsibility for what she called mistakes. She's scheduled to be sentenced October 11th.
Fox's Michelle Polino citing a lack of security, former rap mogul Suge Knight suing R&B star Chris Brown and the owners of a popular West Hollywood nightclub. Knight shot 7 times at that club in 2014. He says the trauma and fear months later had him fleeing for his life when he was attacked at a parking lot. He's now accused of running down 2 men, killing one of them, and remains in jail awaiting trial. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight clear, low of 63. Cools off for tomorrow, high of 77. Mostly sunny, low of 52. Wednesday, sunny clear, high 79. A low of 57. Right now, sunny clear, 90 degrees in Champaign-Urbana. It's drive time on the Tay and J Show, presented by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, stop by Honda BMW Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit online at drivechampaign.com. Well, on this, we'll recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
I went to Nashville, Tennessee, and drank a lot of beer.
We had a Prager kegger. I drank a lot of beer.
That was it.
Good weekend.
That was a good weekend.
Also got a lot of gifts. Got a lot of stuff moving in my house. Meanwhile, Illinois.
We actually did talk sports.
Quietly.
Right.
Hosted a big-time visitor
Did
line.
you know this was going to happen? Did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
How
do they keep it quiet in today's day and age? How's that even
Just
possible?
don't announce it. They don't leak it.
Okay.
Right? I mean, all these things come from somebody.
Well, right. No, right. Good call.
And they want it out there for some reason, right?
Good call.
So you can keep it as quiet as you want, but people are going to recognize a 6'10", 5-star prospect. Yeah. So it started to leak out that yes, this had happened. It was confirmed that yes, it happened. Okay. But both these sides kind of want it quiet that Jeremiah Tillman was on campus. I don't think they want it to blow up to be like, oh my gosh, he's close and he's close to committing. I don't think that's the case based on what I know right now and based on what Derek Piper knows from IlliniInquirer.com. But I think it's a positive anytime you get a 5-star prospect on campus and a kid who fills a need position and a kid that if he commits to you, I think, Jordan Goodwin gives you so much of what you need on the court.
Yes.
When you talk about toughness, tenacity, and just an overall great player, he's got exactly what Illinois needs in his program. Jeremiah Tillman fills a huge need, but also he just gives this program a buzz that it's been lacking. Illinois hasn't had a 5-star prospect commit to it since D. Brown. Right?
Wow.
I mean, some people had Myers Leonard, but D. Brown was really the last
Jeremy Richmond, he wasn't 5, was it?
Okay. And then you had D. Brown was also the last guy that was drafted.
Wow.
Except for Myers Leonard.
Except for Myers.
And if you count Myers Leonard as a 5-star prospect, you've had one 5-star prospect, one NBA player in the last decade since D. Brown left. Jeremiah Tillman would break both those streaks.
Yeah.
And he just gives them a buzz to say that, yeah, we can come here too.
Yep.
Kind of like we talked about with Cliff. Kind of like we talked about with Jalen Brunson. It's just you need somebody to buy into you.
Do.
Jordan Goodwin's different than most of the top 60 prospects that Illinois has gone after, but Illinois had those guys before.
Absolutely.
They've had top 60 prospects before. They haven't had a 5-star prospect besides Myers Leonard in the last 10 years.
That's huge. And whether or not, I like the fact that his family, they just wanted to come here and get a feel for the campus. And you never know when a kid's going to step on campus and say, I'm really comfortable here. And you said that word, comfortable. He's known this staff for a long time, being from East St. Louis. This staff has done a great job with Jeremiah Tillman. Yes, I'm like every other one of you Illinois fans listening right now going, he's not coming here. That guy's not coming here. But you know what?
Because you haven't proven that you can get that
That's
kid.
Correct.
That's what he would change.
That's
if
what
he
would
does
change.
it, all of a sudden it's like, what's possible?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Why did he go there?
Yeah.
Why did he go there? So anytime you can get him on campus, let him look around, just feel comfortable. Get the parents on board as well with where you're at, where he would be going to college. That's huge.
And I don't know if it happened, but one of the things John Gross wanted was for Josh Whitman to be a part of this.
Oh, cool.
And one of the reasons Josh Whitman kept John Gross was that he has a chance at a guy like this.
I like it.
Right?
Yep,
and a guy
that's
like Jordan
exactly
Goodwin
right.
in a program-changing class. Jordan Goodwin, I think, would pump me up.
Yes.
And if you had to break down which player makes a bigger impact on the court for the longest for Illinois, it's probably Goodwin.
I agree.
But if Tillman's only here a year or two, that's probably a positive thing.
Yep.
He fills a big need for you, and he just changes the perception for Illinois, I think, more than anything. But I don't, it's just a positive that he's here.
Amen.
Does it mean he's committing? No. Illinois is in this. Kansas is in this. Illinois hasn't won battles against Kansas.
No.
North Carolina's in this. Michigan State's in this. I think this goes to the fall, but I think it's a positive that Jeremiah Tillman was on campus.
And these kids sign in November, so that's kind of the goal. But you think now official visits will happen next. That's kind of the course. I asked you, I said, right now you got Pickett, you got DeMonte Williams, you're hopefully waiting on Goodwin and maybe a guy like Tillman. And you said you need to be focusing on a point guard in Florida. And, of course, we didn't necessarily break him down today, but Trent Frazier is another kid that you're really high on, someone that Illinois fans should be high on, a point guard.
We should be talking about a top 100 point guard.
Yes.
Telling people publicly that Illinois is my leader.
That's awesome.
I mean, what would we be saying last year?
Right.
I mean, I know Tijan Lucas is here, and I think that's great for Illinois. You need more than one point guard.
3 years ago, I probably would have been more excited about him than I would Goodwin and or Tillman. Just because he's a point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we wanted point guards 2-3 years ago.
And Trent Frazier, if you watch highlights of him, basically ball screen guy, comes off of ball screens, a lefty shooter who's a really good shooter. Basically, his strengths are kind of Tijan Lucas's weaknesses, and his weaknesses are Tijan Lucas's strengths.
That's cool.
And that Tijan's a distributor first, creates for teammates really well, while Frazier's more of a pass or a shoot first guy, right?
That's awesome.
So you got two different kind of guys, and Frazier sounds like he's going to visit sometime this summer.
Okay.
Maybe Illinois can lock it up then. We have to talk a lot of baseball today. Ryan Watt, BPWrigleyville.com, joined us in the 3 o'clock hour.
The Cubs stink.
Last week they did.
Yeah, they did.
1-6. And I thought he said it well. He goes, for the first time, I think it's okay to talk about, are there worries?
I agree with you.
About a little bad streak because, 3 losses here, 4 losses there. But I think the concern is mostly injuries. I mean, Dexter Fowler out, Anthony Rizzo with a bad back. You had Soler and Schwarber obviously hurt as well. The bullpen, a little bit of a concern. You kind of got guys trying out for those roles right now. I think they'll add a bullpen arm, but it's kind of a survival of the fittest, survival of who can not get hurt the longest, and who's hot. And right now, the Giants are hot. The Indians are hot. You got a lot of teams, and the Cubs are just going on a bad streak. They're still really good. That roster's really good, but you got to get healthy.
Well, the Cardinals have seen this with injuries, right? They've dealt with them themselves. Last year, had a lot of injuries, still won 100 games. This is where you test depth, and the Cubs seemingly have the depth to continue and move on through all of this. The thing that scares me is a back injury. If Rizzo's back is hurting me, and we all know just from being human, if you're down in the back, that hurts doing whatever, let alone going out and swinging a baseball bat viciously. So that would worry me. That would concern me a little bit with regards to Rizzo. Fowler's expected back July 2nd. So this coming Saturday, he's eligible to come off the DL. I think he would help that team. He was huge the first, month or two of the season.
Cardinals lost 2 of 3 at Seattle, won last night behind 2 Matt Carpenter home runs. He is now second in the league in OPS behind just David Ortiz.
Wow.
And we brought it up. It's kind of ridiculous that he wasn't in that top 50 list of MLB players that was put out recently, I think, by the MLB Network. But 2013 through 2016, only 5 guys have better wins above replacement according to Fangraphs. Trout, Donaldson, McCutchen, Goldschmidt, and Machado. Carpenter's 6th on that list.
I still don't know if Cardinals fans really they love him.
I think they do. They do.
You're right. You're probably right.
15-16, he's those 2 years, he's 10th in OPS behind Harper, Goldschmidt, Trout, Ortiz, Votto, Donaldson, Miguel Cabrera, Anthony Rizzo, Nelson Cruz, Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter's a star.
And don't forget, in the meantime, they've been shifting him from second to third, back to second.
First.
First. And all he does is just go out and rake. It's unbelievable.
Put him in center field.
Yeah. And leading off. I mean, and they shifted him
47
down.
RBIs as a leadoff guy.
Unreal. They shifted him down last year. Now they've shifted him back to the leadoff role. Matt Carpenter has just been an absolute find for this Cardinal organization.
How overdue was it to change Rosenthal from the closer, in your opinion? A week or 2?
Maybe a week.
Days?
I wasn't as worried as like you were when you were.
I thought the last time we talked with Claibs, I was like, it might be time to start thinking about it.
Correct.
I think last week when we came in Monday, I was like, what are they waiting for?
Well, I think
and then they needed 2 more blown saves to do it.
What's sad, Jeremy, is I think what stopped me from worrying too much is because this is what I've seen him do his entire career, and he always ends up with the save. Now, if he starts blowing him, that's when I would start to get worried. Do I get frustrated when he goes out and walks 2 guys, or there's bases loaded and somehow he gets out of it? I get frustrated.
At some point, that feels like luck that he's
totally
getting out
agree.
of it,
Totally agree. But he's done it so much that you start thinking, all right, well, maybe that's just how he does it. But definitely, I think this was a move that Matheny, if nothing else, like you said, get him out of high pressure situations for maybe 1 or 2 appearances. Let him kind of get figured out and then get him back in there. Clave still thinks he's the guy. Yeah. He's the guy. He's the closer for the Cardinals. So I hope he gets it figured out and the Cardinals stay with him in the 9th.
The White Sox have won back-to-back series since first time since April 27th. The plan's working.
Look at you.
Chris Sale, Cy Young. That's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, stop by Honda BMW Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit online at drivechampaign.com. All right, it is time. We're opening up the phone lines
now.
Our second caller will get to participate in the Take a Knee contest. All you do, call 359-2255, 217-359-2255. If you are the second caller, you'll come on with us, answer a few fun questions, and you are qualified to possibly receive a $1,500 credit toward the engagement ring of your choice at Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign. You just come on with us, answer a few questions, have fun with it, because we're going to podcast the contestants' winners and answers, and they'll be posted at ESPNCU.com. Okay. Listeners will then vote once per device for their favorite guy. So call now, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255.
I mean, if you're going to plan on getting married soon and or have a buddy doing this, you need to let him know about this. 359-2255. Not sure about Jerry Hester still this hour, right?
Probably not. It sounds like he's golfing at the golf event. So
fair enough.
Get him back.
Those golf outings, they always just take too long. But that's all right. We'll get Jerry in as soon as we can. We'll get him on for you. It is the Tay and J Show.
Radio Sports Beat. Here's Sarah Spain.
Sunday night was a big one for Pirates rookie pitcher Chad Kuhl, a night he no doubt dreamed about for most of his life. The 23-year-old University of Delaware grad got the call-up from AAA Indianapolis to make his major league debut. Oh, and no pressure for the kid. He'd just be facing the best pitcher in the world right now, Clayton Kershaw. Not much of a chance, right? A rookie making his first start ever against a 3-time NL Cy Young Award winner who entered the contest riding a 9-game win streak. Well, that's why you play the game. Kuhl was solid through 5 innings and got a little help from his teammates. Fellow rookie Adam Frazier drove in a run, David Freese hit a 3-run double, and the bullpen combined to throw 4 perfect innings in relief. And so, in his first start, Kuhl led the Pirates to a 4-3 victory over Kershaw and the Dodgers. More on Kuhl's big night after this.
Beating the heat is what summer's all about. And at AutoZone, we know that with your car's battery, it's not about staying cool, it's about staying tough. Heat causes battery fluid to evaporate, which corrodes your battery's insides. That's why Duralast batteries are designed and tested to start in extreme temperatures. How extreme? How does 167 degrees sound? So beat the summer heat with a battery that'll last. Get yourself a Duralast battery, sold only at AutoZone. Hoods up, America.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ryan Russillo here. If you're a small business owner, then you know firsthand it can be a real challenge to get access to funding. It's time for funding to catch up to the 21st century. It's time for Cabbage. Fill out the application online and you'll get a decision in minutes with on-the-spot access to a line of credit of up to $150,000. No waiting, no hassle. Cabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, has been named a Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. So go to Kabbage.com or call 855-CABBAGE. That's Cabbage with a K, K-A-B-B-A-G-E, the #1 online provider of small business loans.
The kid wasn't perfect, but his major league record is a perfect 1-0 after Sunday's improbable win. Kuhl allowed 3 runs and 4 hits in 5 innings work, striking out 5 and walking 4. He also prevented the tying run, making a big play at the plate to deny Justin Turner, who went home on a pitch that got away from Pirates catcher Chris Stewart. Kershaw allowed 9 hits, 1 short of his season high, giving up 4 runs in his 6 innings work, with 4 Ks and 2 walks. It was Kershaw's first multiple walk game in 16 starts this season. It was just his 2nd loss of the year, coming exactly 2 months after he was beaten by the Marlins. The win makes it 3 in a row for the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Dodgers, a nice change for the Pirates after a 2-13 record in the 15 games before the series began. They inch ever closer to 500, and they'll have a chance to sweep LA with a win on Monday. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Sarah Spain.
Hi, I'm Habib, CEO of BPC, and this is your Motivational Minute. John Maxwell, the internationally admired guru of leadership, wrote that we should give people the AAA treatment, that people feel much better when you give them attention, affirmation, and appreciation. He quotes this: "A gossip is one who talks to you about other people. A bore is one who talks to you about himself, and a brilliant conversationalist is one who talks to you about yourself." John Maxwell has been an inspiration for me for several decades. He has written many best-selling books about leadership. Everyone who reads his books or conferences has been motivated and energized. That's why I'm hosting his Live to Lead event here in Champaign at the Virginia Theater in October. Tickets are on sale, so go get them while early bird pricing is in effect. You can buy the tickets online at the Virginia's website or by calling their ticket office at 217-356-9063. I'm Habib, looking forward to joining you and getting inspired and motivated by one of the world's best motivators, John Maxwell.
When your computer's not working, you're not working. Hi, this is Dan from Simplified Computers. Whether your computer is running slow, you have a virus, or it's just time for an upgrade, Simplified Computers is here to help with personal service you won't find at the big box stores. We can set up your wireless network, build, install, and maintain your business's server, or replace your hard drive. For over 18 years, we have served the Champaign-Urbana community with integrity and quality customer service. Call us at 352-5000. Simplified Computers, simply the best.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance, finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com. SportsGrid.com.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Win with Champagne Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram on Moreland Boulevard with ESPN 93.5. Stop in Champagne Chrysler today and drop your name in the box to win tickets to see the Cardinals take on the Dodgers July 24th.
All right, it's the Tay and J Show. Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner. Hopefully going to be doing Take a Knee here in a minute. We need to call Jason back is what we're going to do. It's the Tay and J Show. Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner. Good show today. Ryan Watt, BPWrigleyville.com. Talk some Cubs with Ryan. Also visited with Mike Claiborne, KMOX. Jerry Hester was going to join us, but he is playing, an alumni golf outing. Doesn't know if he's going to get done in time. We were going to ask Jerry, about him leaving. I don't know if you'd heard that yet. He's leaving as the radio network analyst for Illinois.
Yeah, Jerry said he'll likely join us in the next day or two if he doesn't get done. He said he had about 6 holes left. His group is going really slow. But we talked earlier about some of the candidates who could possibly do it. Obviously, Sean Harrington would have made
number one
perfect sense, and I think Sean is probably very interested in it anyway. But traveling from Florida where he lives, that's really tough for him to pull off logistically. So 2 years ago would have been perfect for him. But there's a lot of other interesting names out there, whether it's a Robert Archibald.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Sam Maniscalco. Through Deion Thomas out there as well.
That would be great.
Some fans pining for Lucas Johnson. Now math teacher Lucas Johnson.
He's a math teacher now. I listen, Lucas would not do that, I don't think. I honestly don't think he would.
No?
But he would be a blast.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'd just take it way too serious. Like he wouldn't be himself. But I can't imagine that. Lucas I've never seen get too serious when I've been around him or talked to him.
If you want to weigh in, you can. 359-2255, 217-359-2255. Some other bad news over the weekend. Woke up to this on Saturday morning as Joseph Bertrand was arrested for domestic battery. He still lives here in Champaign.
Okay.
And obviously for Illini fans, like, really?
I know.
I mean, he's not a part of the Illinois program anymore.
Right.
But, being around Joseph, this surprises me a little bit. I guess you never really know somebody.
Sure.
And again, we can't assume anything
right.
here.
You got to wait and see.
Right. I mean, he's got to stand trial or whatever. He's got his right to that. But it's just sad to see another one of these. Anybody who's affiliated with Illinois to go through this. It is.
And I didn't realize Joe still lived in this area. I didn't know that. I kind of lost track of him. But obviously, we'll have to kind of let that play its way through and see. But certainly on the heels of what Illinois fans have been through here in the last couple months, that's not something you wanted to hear, even if it's not a current player.
Yeah.
It's just not something you want to hear. And, of course, Illinois fans, of course, I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name that played back on the 83 Rose Bowl team that is convicted of murder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of that out there. And, that's not good. That's not something you want to hear from your program.
This is from the News Gazette. Lieutenant Robert Rees said 25-year-old Joseph Bertrand and his girlfriend were arguing outside shortly before 1 a.m. Saturday in the 300 block of East John Street. Rees said Bertrand pushed the woman to the ground, causing minor injuries.
Okay.
He said a passerby witnessed the incident and gave a statement to police. Bertrand told police that both he and his girlfriend were being aggressive during the argument as opposed to things being one-sided. Rees said it's not known if alcohol played a role in the fight. Bertrand bonded out of jail on Saturday and is due in court on Wednesday. So obviously we don't know the entire story. But yeah, I mean, it happens in this world. You just hope that you hope that the worst doesn't turn out to be true.
That is correct. You gave some stats on Matt Carpenter earlier, and of course I told you I'm going down Saturday and it's the Matt Carpenter jersey or batting practice jersey night. So I'm excited to get that. I'm going to bring one in the studio, but we were talking about the Cardinals and Randall Grichuk, who's down in AAA at Memphis, trying to get right. And if he could make it back, then it again starts leading you now. All right, what do we do with all these guys? Because Moss obviously needs to play for the Cardinals. He's been hitting, not every day, but he's the guy that's been hitting the ball, hitting a lot of home runs, doing what he should be doing, which has been great. Matt Adams, of course, you got in there. Now you got Tommy Pham. Now you got Colton Wong in the outfield.
Hashtag Cardinal problems.
Right. And Piscotty, of course, playing well in right field. It's just amazing that when you get Grichuk back, or when they do, if he gets right, I don't want to sit here and say that they need his power in the lineup.
No, they don't need power.
They don't need the power is the amazing thing, but yet he can provide that.
Well, I think the thing they need most in center field is defense.
Just defense. That is correct.
I think you need defense, and Tommy Pham's probably your best option there, isn't he?
And that's the thing that worried me about Colton Wong.
I'm really not worried about power at this point.
I'm not either.
That's why I understood Grichuk sending him down.
Yep.
But Wong in center field just doesn't really help you there. I mean, you can't really afford that right now. You got to win baseball games. Yep. This is something you do in spring training. Yes. This is something where you keep him down there for a month. Working on this.
Work on it, get figured out. Yeah. Get it figured out. I totally agree. All right, is it update time, my friend? It is time for Nathan to Sutter on the update. And I hit the wrong button. Nathan, don't do the update on that song. Let's do it on this. Yeah!
It's time for the update. Illini Football Pro Football Focus released its top 101 players for the 2016 college football season, and an Illini made the list. That man is defensive end number 91, DeJuan Smoot, who's ranked 20th overall and is a projected first-round pick. Last year, Smoot racked up 8 sacks and was graded as the 8th best pass rusher in the country. 5-star big man Jeremiah Tillman visited the Illini this Saturday. The number 1 recruit in the state said he just chilled on campus with my family. Sounds like a pretty good day to me. 247 Sports listed it as a 50% chance he commits. MLB tonight, the Cardinals start a 4-game home-and-home series with their AL state rival, the Kansas City Royals. Adam Wainwright goes up against lefty Danny Duffy. Wainwright had a terrible start to the season, but in his last 7 starts, he's lasted at least 6 innings and allowed 3 or fewer runs in all but one of them. Duffy has been solid since moving into the rotation in mid-May. He's 2-1 with a 3.38 ERA overall, but he's been roughed up recently, giving up 6 runs in his last 9 2/3. After a 1-6 week, the Cubs lost their title of best team in baseball to the Rangers and Giants. They head to Cincinnati tonight to face a Reds team that really doesn't want to see them. So far this year, they're 6-1 against the broken-down Red Machine and have outscored them 60-20. Ace Jake Arrieta faces Dan Straley to try and start another winning streak. Cubs option lefty Gerardo Concepcion backed down to AAA and brought up 40-year-old righty Joel Peralta to try and shore up the bullpen. The White Sox are off today after winning 5 of the last 7. They head to Minnesota tomorrow to face a bad Twins team in hopes to keep their winning ways going. All-Star game, it's still 5 Cubs, Yadier Molina, Harper, and Cespedes in the All-Star game starting lineup for the NL. NBA, everyone saw it coming, but it's official. Pau Gasol, he's out. And Food Network star, we're down to the final 6. Rob was eliminated last week, but Tredeguet and Jannard, they're thriving right now.
Is Roger still there?
That's a different thing. Different competition. This is Food Network star.
Keep up, Ron. Keep up.
That's my bad, Nathan. My goodness. I do need to keep up. And hey, summer. You know you love summer, right? You're probably sitting in the pool right now relaxing. Summer's a perfect time for a mid-year financial checkup. If you've fallen behind on your goals, Busey can help get you back on track. We're almost done with June.
I know.
This is... Hey, rethink big goals. Financial assessments in the Resource Center on Busey.com. Great tools to see if you're on track for saving for retirement, college, and major purchases. And have you been sticking to a budget? Make sure you're doing that. Plan to pay off debt as swiftly as your cash flow allows and get creative with your passwords. Protect your identity with new, unique passwords. Whatever your financial goal, Busey can help, from retirement planning to funding your child's college education, from creating an investment to setting up a 401k for your employees. Busey can do all of the above. Enjoy your summer and enjoy it free from financial worries. To work towards achieving your financial goals today, visit Busey.com or simply stop by one of their many convenient locations.
NBA free agency starts on Friday, and the big story is Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently he is definitely going to meet with 6 teams. The Thunder, Spurs, Warriors, Heat, Celtics, and Clippers.
Interesting. What's the one that would worry you the most?
I was going to say, put yourself in Kevin Durant's shoes.
Okay.
Who would actually interest you here?
Well, if I go to the Warriors, I'm winning a title.
You'd hope.
I mean, you'd hope, right? But I think if I'm going to Golden State, that's my best ticket to winning a title.
But I think there is something, where does the ball go?
That's a great point.
Right?
And there is that ego, I would assume, with these guys.
There's absolutely ego. Are you okay being the second most popular player on your team?
Right.
Are you okay averaging 23 points per game as opposed to 30?
I agree, because Steph and even Clay, they're going to get shots.
As much as people want to say it's all about winning,
yeah,
there's an ego involved.
No, there's
in all
no
of this.
doubt. There's no
and
doubt.
I think there's also an ego of saying, I beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? LeBron can say, I beat them.
That's a great point. I think the Thunder, I think that's where he stays.
I think the most logical thing would be the Thunder on a multi-year deal, but a 1-year opt-out.
Yeah, okay.
Because then he and Russ, if it doesn't work this year with Oladipo, Cantor, Steven Adams, all that great team, I think that team can win it all.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't win it next year, then we'll look at it, see if we decide we want to go somewhere else. But I look at that Thunder team and say, they're right there with the Warriors.
Sure.
I think they're better than the Spurs next year. The Heat, that'd be really interesting. You'd have Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, and Bosh basically trying to do the LeBron thing. But Wade's up there in years. Bosh, we don't know if he'll be back.
Right, exactly.
So I don't think the Heat really have that much outside of being Miami. You can visit Miami whenever you want for Kevin Durant. Boston, I like that team, but it's all on you.
Right.
The LA Clippers.
You're going backwards in those situations.
I think so too. The only places I think you could go forward is the Warriors and the Spurs, and I'd want to play with Russ.
I would too.
I'd want to play with Russ, and I'd want to try and beat the Warriors if I were him, because he can get the most money with the Thunder. Plus, I mean, that team seems loaded. They seem ready. They seem all like they're getting to their prime. You still got young players that are getting better. I think he'll probably sign with the Thunder, have a 1-year opt-out, and do it all again next year.
It will be interesting for how much the landscape of the NBA could shift, because if he would leave the Thunder, then they're done.
Yeah, that's a playoff team. That's not a that's not a championship team.
That's correct.
I mean, but at least they'd have Russ probably for 1 year.
Right.
Because if Durant leaves, I would imagine Russ leaves eventually.
Wow.
You'd have Oladipo.
Yep.
You got Cantor, who I think can be a 15 to 20 point a game scorer, and then you have Steven Adams. So you still got something to work with there. And it's probably a playoff team because Russ is an MVP candidate, but it's not a championship team.
Who are there any other big free agents, or is Durant the guy?
You led me into it.
Okay.
I didn't even tell you.
No, we haven't. We haven't talked about this.
CBS, number 1 free agent, Kevin Durant.
Sure.
Number 2, LeBron James. He's got a player option.
It's funny to even think of him as a free agent. You know, technically he could be, though.
He could opt out and go anywhere.
Wow.
Andre Drummond, number 3, but he's a restricted free agent. The 22-year-old big man for the Pistons. The Pistons will certainly max him out, and if anybody gives him an offer, they'll match it.
So restricted just means exactly what you said.
Right. The Pistons can match whatever offer is given him.
Fair enough.
Al Horford's probably the next biggest unrestricted free agent. He's kind of a Spurs player.
Yeah.
He's kind of the Duncan of the Hawks. He's just not quite as good as Duncan, but he's good at everything. Just a fundamentally sound player who always produces. 5, Mike Conley, point guard.
Now he's intriguing.
Yeah.
How good of a point guard has he been in the NBA?
He's been very good. He's not elite.
Okay.
But he's very good. You know what you're getting out of him. He's not the number 1 team, doesn't take over games, not a dominant scorer, but he's great at everything. People compare him. If you had to, Mike Conley would be like Alex Smith in football.
Oh, okay.
Alex Smith's kind of a game manager, but a little better than that.
Yep.
That's what Mike Conley is.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a great analogy to tie that in. Is he a guy the Bulls would want?
I would think so. I would think so, but he's going to get a lot of money. Memphis is going to be interested in him. I would imagine the Knicks will be. San Antonio, if Tony Parker's close to being done, Utah could be an interesting team.
How much did the Bulls save now by getting rid of Derrick Rose?
Not much, because they'd take back the same amount of salary.
Oh,
right, but they still have about $20 million because Pau Gasol is gone. Joakim Noah's gone. They got about $20 million, $24 million to spend.
Who's your point guard? Calderon?
Right now, it's Calderon and Jaren Grant. But yeah, they're going to need.
They're going to need that. Okay.
DeMar DeRozan. They have number 6. He's got a player option with Toronto, but a lot of people think the Lakers are the big team there. Bradley Beal of the Wizards, number 7 on this list. He's also a restricted free agent. Nicholas Batum of the Hornets is an unrestricted free agent. Kind of a good 3-point shooter, good defender, long player.
Got it.
The interesting guy is Hassan Whiteside.
Wow.
Miami Heat center. He's 26 years old. He can be great times. He can be bad at times.
Because there was 2 years ago, he was unbelievable, right?
No, 2 years ago, he was basically out of the league.
Oh, okay.
Former 15th overall pick. Last year, he was phenomenal. 2 years, he was. That's where he kind of developed.
Fair enough. I'm thinking last year. Okay, yeah, because I remember hearing about him. And then last year he was just unbelievable.
But there's not many guys who are 26 years old that big. Yes. The Lakers apparently are going to make a huge push for him.
Okay, that's fair. Nathan threw it out. Mike Conley last year, 15 points, 6 assists, shot 36% from three. I mean, would he fit?
He's a player leader. Yeah, he would fit
with
perfectly.
Hoiberg?
He would fit perfectly with the Bulls.
Yeah, he would.
But how much money are you willing to spend on a good point guard?
Exactly. Who won the draft? Who won the NBA draft? Any idea?
Philadelphia?
Well, of course.
They got the best player.
They did. They totally did. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited for Simmons.
I think Minnesota
did well
getting Chris Dunn at that spot.
Yes.
A lot of people thought he was the third best player in the draft. New Orleans getting Buddy Hield to put with them. I thought Phoenix, they took the highest upside to four guys, right? They got Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris. If one of them works out, that's a pretty good draft because both those guys have pretty high upside.
That's interesting. The NBA draft, NHL draft, similar timing. The Blues went all offense, went all centers, went all forwards. Didn't worry about defense because they have a lot of young defensemen already. They just went as much offensive minded as can be, and I love it. And I don't know that it's reactionary to what you've seen out of Chicago now the last 3 years or whatever.
I think it's reactionary to what they have.
Yeah, I agree
with
what
they've had in the playoffs.
That's exactly right because they're a team that needs that, and that's exactly what they did. Plus, they've hit on a couple of kids like Fabry and Schwartz. Yeah. They've hit on those kids lately, and they're thinking, you know what? Maybe it's not all about defense and just keeping scores 2-1 or 1-0. Let's go score some goals. And you're seeing that even with Pittsburgh, a team that won the Cup.
And the Blackhawks obviously have given up a lot. In this offseason with Teuvo Teravainen and Andrew Shaw. But they did have 3 second-round picks to try and find the next guys. They took Alex Debercant, right wing, with the 39th overall pick out of the Erie Otters of the OHL. They took another left winger at number 50 and a defenseman, Chad Chris, at number 45. So they're trying to reload. And
they are.
Bowman's got a huge task ahead of him. But again, it's kind of like John Mazalek. You just got to trust the guy, trust their development, their scouting, because they keep getting these guys who end up showing up.
They do.
And performing.
Well, it's amazing how many guys, and now Shaw's the next guy. How many of these, I don't want to call them superstars, they're that next level down, and they're glue. They're so important for your team. They do so many things under the radar, if you will, especially in the playoffs. They're just those grit guys that are also talented. Shaw's not a grit guy. I mean, he's talented. He's one of the best, and to get rid of him now and not be able to keep him, that's a huge blow to the Blackhawks. Huge. And with he and Teravainen gone, I mean, that really changes the look of your team heading into next year. Of course, like you said, though, you still have Kane, you still have Tays.
Anisimov.
And if you have, right. And if you have those guys, guess what? You got a chance. Plus you have Seabrook, plus you have Duncan Keith. I mean, you still have a nucleus that is good enough to get you to a Stanley Cup.
If you want to weigh in, you can. 359-2255, 217-359-2255. You can weigh in on the Jupiter's the Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Power text line. That's 359-2255.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Join the Women's Business Council for their Roaring 20s themed party, Juice the Joint, at Jupiter's at the Crossing on Saturday, July 16th from 7 to 10, benefiting Salt and Light Ministries. This is the Cat's Meow of events, and you will not want to miss it. Juice the Joint will include casino tables, jazz and swing dancing, food and drinks, mug shots hosted by Stasky Photography, party raffles, including a Ford Escape thanks to Bill Smith Auto, Service King, and Dawn's 24-hour towing, a mattress and pillow set from Mattress Firm, and a 50-inch TV thanks to Steve Tarrant at State Farm, along with other great prizes. So pull out your flapper dress gangster gear, newsboy cap, or your vest for the best dressed costume contest. It's Juice the Joint with Women's Business Council, July 16th, benefiting Salt and Light Ministries. Brought to you in part by CleanRight, RSM Accounting Firm, Service Master, and Prairie State Bank. Check out WBCCCC.org for tickets and enter into the Ford Escape car raffle in advance. That's WBCCC.org.
My name is Roosevelt. I always thought that cigarette smoking just messed up your lungs. I never thought that at only 45 would give me a heart attack. And I never thought that it would change my life forever. My tip is, do your heart a favor and quit now.
Heart attack risk drops as soon as you quit. Call
Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
It seems like in every home, there's at least one room that's either too hot or too cold. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Mitsubishi Electric has your comfort solution. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems are up to 40% more efficient with no ductwork and whisper quiet. Individual room control, giving you the freedom to find your perfect comfort level and save money too. Make your whole home comfortable again. See Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for your comfort solution and live better.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Lands is your local Mitsubishi Electric Diamond dealer. Our technicians are experts at solving your comfort needs, one room or your whole house. Let us show you how a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling System can save you money now. Your comfort is our priority. Call Lands today at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza in Champaign isn't your typical pizza joint. Their dough is made fresh daily, only with the best ingredients, sauce, and cheese. Stop into Brick's for their daily lunch special, a half pizza with your choice of salad or soup for just $7.95. With gluten-free and vegan options, Brick's has pizzas to satisfy anyone's taste buds. Brick's also has hot and made-to-order sandwiches along with freshly made salads and pastas. For dinner, make it Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza at the corner of Neal and Devonshire in Champaign.
Flooring Surfaces is your premier source for new flooring in Central Illinois. You don't need to wander poorly lit aisles looking for help or load a new floor into a cart to check out. You need an inviting space filled with exciting new floors and a trained professional to guide you to the perfect choice for your home or project. Flooring Surfaces can find the hardwood, carpet, vinyl, or tile floor that is right for you with a beautiful showroom and over 1 million square feet of flooring in stock. See us today at 401 East Mercury Drive in Champaign.
The world at your feet.
Willow Pond Golf Course is the place to be July 9th. It's the Willow Pond Golf Course Entertainment Extravaganza with live music, food and drink specials, and more. Stop out to Willow Pond Golf Course for an early morning or afternoon round of golf on July 9th. Then come back that evening for live music from the Tons of Fun Band from 5 to 7 p.m. and 90's Daughter takes the stage at 8 p.m. Call 893-9000 or search Willow Pond Golf on Facebook for more information. It's the Willow Pond Golf Course Entertainment Extravaganza, July 9th. Don't miss it.
Hey fans, this lineup is brought to you by your Central Illinois Honda dealers. And I've got to tell you about a perennial all-star in their lineup, the completely redesigned Honda Civic. Packed with the most innovative features, the new 2016 Civic has available technology like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a new turbocharged engine. Enjoy more power and better fuel efficiency. Listen, fans, you're just not going to find this equipment on any of the competition. The Civic is a true powerhouse. Speaking of long drives, it's no surprise 2016 Civic is the 2016 North American Car of the Year. You can see why the Honda Civic has so many loyal fans. And now, with amazing low lease and finance rates, the Honda Civic just knocks it out of the park. Plus, you can always rely on your Central Illinois Honda dealer for a great deal. To Central Illinois Honda dealers, or visit centralilhondadealers.com today.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
The thing I'm most excited about with Denzel is his versatility. He's a basketball player. That's the thing in talking to Coach Izzo that he talked about the most is you can play him all over the court. He's a facilitator. He's an excellent positional rebounder. He can bust out with the ball, and he just gives you the opportunity to play so many ways. He can get into the paint, and he's always going to make the right decision. You look at players at the college level. Not many of them on a nightly basis are putting up triple doubles and are close to triple doubles, and Denzel did that. And he's just again a well-rounded, versatile basketball player that I think fits perfectly in how we want to play.
That is Chicago Bulls coach Fred Hoiberg talking about Denzel Valentine. I was telling Jeremy at the break, I hadn't had a chance because I had left Friday. Hadn't had a chance to ask him his thoughts on Denzel Valentine, of course, selected 14th by the Bulls. It's Lon Tay, Jeremy Warner, Tay and J Show. If you want to weigh in, 359-222. 2255. So I'll ask you now.
Yeah.
What do you think? Denzel, I was excited for you guys to get him. I think that's a great pick at 14.
Sometimes I react to the reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be some of the Bulls fan base that's like, well, he's got this weakness and this weakness. He's not athletic enough. He's not, he can't blow by people. And I go, well, that's not what they're going to ask him to do.
Right.
This isn't your superstar.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't your Derrick Rose replacement.
No.
This is a guy who can help you. I think this is a guy who's going to be a starter for a long time in this league.
Agreed.
If not, I think he's a good role player.
Yeah.
But that's what he is. He's a role player, kind of like a couple years ago when Golden State drafted Draymond Green to be a role player.
Amen.
You're not going to ask Denzel Valentine to handle the ball and beat people off the dribble.
No.
Right? You're asking him to be a part of an offensive system that wants people to pass it very quickly.
Correct.
And you want people to shoot threes. He's elite at both those things.
Yes, he is.
Right? He's a very
Yes,
skilled
he is.
basketball player. He can rebound. No, he's not the most athletic. Yeah, he had a knee injury that some people are concerned about a little bit. But I thought at pick 14, that was as good a value as you could have gotten. Yeah, you could have swung for a guy like Wade Baldwin,
sure,
who maybe has a little bit of a higher ceiling. Some people think he does, others don't.
Okay.
But why? You need good players.
I agree.
And Denzel Valentine's a very good basketball player. He proved it consistently the last couple of years, and he proved he was a star in college.
Yes.
Last year, he's got enough length to be a 2 in the NBA. He's a great shooter, great passer. I choose to look at the positives of what he can bring as possibly the 4th or 5th guy in the Bulls.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm not looking at him to be the 1, 2, or 3. Even though you look at I think people get stuck on and look at the roster now and say, oh, that roster's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is right now.
It's not great.
But this was a move. This wasn't the move. There are many more moves this team has to make, but I think Denzel Valentine makes them better.
He played at a high level. He's a guy that continuously impressed me and was always better than I thought he would be, and I wonder how that'll transition to the NBA. Athletically, I don't know that he's the most athletic guy on the court, but he gets things done, and he can rebound. Don't forget that either. And Hoiberg, of course, said that. A guy that had triple-doubles in college. We're not expecting that in the NBA, but that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid when you can go out and get a triple-double in college basketball and understand that you can rebound as well as assist and hit threes.
Fred Hoiberg also talked about other things at Denzel Valentine's press conference today, including this. Well, hold on.
Hold on.
Let me get something else playing.
Yeah, that was this was today, right? Hoiberg today talking about the draft and also some other additions.
Yeah, Fred Hoiberg met with the media today as Denzel Valentine also met with the media to discuss Denzel Valentine, their lottery pick. They're trying to focus on some positives, but Fred Hoiberg talking about one of their recent additions. And what is playing out? Okay, here we go. Here's Fred Hoiberg.
I've always thought very, very highly of. Even you look at Brooke Lopez, a guy that I've always thought very, very highly of. Even going back, you look at Brooke Lopez, a guy that I've always
they didn't get
thought
Brooke Lopez,
very highly of. Even going back,
they got
the
Robin
draft
Lopez.
when I was working in the front office in Minnesota. He's a guy that will run to the rim every time. He's going to set screens and he's going to be a forceful rim roller.
He is talking about Robin.
He actually, because I asked you that.
Yeah, he is referring to Robin, but he called him
Lopez. You look at Brooke Lopez.
Poor Fred.
Aren't they twins though?
Yes, they are twins.
They're twins, so maybe that made it.
And I get it. He's
I know.
Sometimes you get to a press conference and you say something stupid.
Right.
We say it all the time. Sometimes we'll say the wrong name.
Oh, I do that every day.
It's just pretty funny.
I do that every day.
Poor Fred.
Poor Fred.
Because he was referring to things that Robin is really good at and Brooke is terrible at, right?
I think that's fantastic.
Robin's a really good defender. He can move really well, while Brooke's just a slow-footed, old-school 5. But yeah, he said the wrong name.
That happened.
Wrong twin. It happens.
359-2255 if you want to weigh in. Don't forget tonight we'll have Cardinals baseball against the Kansas City Royals. You had asked Mike Claiborne if that series has kind of amped up the Royals and Cardinals.
Yeah, is that like a thing?
You know what? I don't think
you guys care.
I don't think it
is.
is.
You guys care about the Royals? I mean, it's like two good baseball teams, right?
Right.
That's more what it is.
They're good now, and they were good, back when George Brett and those guys, and they had their moments. And I think back then it seemed to be a little bit more heated than what it is now.
Play every year.
But then the Royals were so bad for so long.
Is this like a thing in Columbia? Like in Columbia, Missouri, like midway through.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Is it a thing there? Because like Cubs Cardinals, Yeah, it's a big thing here,
Yes.
like the in-between, right? And it's a big thing because you play each other every year.
Yep.
Cubs-White Sox is a thing because you're so close to each other. You
Correct.
interact with them all the time.
I would assume
Cardinals
it's a
fans
thing.
here, like, it's not a big deal.
No, nobody around here.
But Columbia, I wonder, like, middle Missouri,
I assume
is that a thing?
Because like around here, you have a lot of Cubs, you have a lot of Cardinals. That's why it's a thing. I assume like in middle ground Missouri, that would be more of a deal with the Royals and the Cardinals. But I'm just St. Louis winning that game yesterday in Seattle. That would have just been unbelievable if you think about it, to go to Wrigley and sweep the Cubs and then go to a struggling Mariners team and drop the first two. And then if you would have lost the third, that would have been really frustrating. Instead, you win the game yesterday. You have a 4-2 road trip so far. Now, I don't know what will happen with Kansas City, and it's one of those weird at Kansas City for 2, then right back to Busch Stadium for 2 games this week. But to go 4-2 so far in this series and maybe try to get a split or win a couple at Kansas City would be nice.
The Pittsburgh Pirates,
yes,
there's talk.
I didn't know McCutchen was struggling that bad.
He has been. He's starting to turn it around a little bit.
Okay,
he went 2 for 4 today. They lost another game though to the Dodgers. It's getting to that point where people are starting to talk about, is it time to trade Andrew McCutchen?
Oh no. I mean, here's another team, the Pirates, that like felt like they were almost at that point. Right. Like, and this is the team, and then they're not going to get over it. Yep.
Injuries have crushed them. Cervelli and Garrett Cole are the latest to get hurt, and they've done a great job of getting ahead, right? Just like the White Sox with Sale and Quintana.
Agree.
But they've also done a good job of developing a bunch of talent. So they signed Marte, they signed Polanco, Cervelli to these team-friendly deals. But at the same time, they can't afford a superstar Andrew McCutchen who eventually hits the market.
No.
And McCutchen's 30 years old.
Right.
We don't think about him as 30 years old.
He doesn't seem it.
No.
He doesn't seem it.
But he's 30 years old, and you get to that point where you're like, when's the right time?
Correct.
Do we wait too long to trade a guy like this? You wonder, does it get to that point? I don't know if Pittsburgh can do that quite yet.
I agree.
But if it gets to that point, like this offseason, do you consider doing something like that?
I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, you got to look at it like, all right, the Cardinals have been dominant the last few years. Now the Cubs, they're not going anywhere. I mean, the Cardinals were better than you basically for the last 3-4 years. Yeah. Now the Cubs are better than you and will be for the next 3 or 4 years. So you, I guess, have to make that decision.
It's kind of like Troy Tulowitzki last year, right? With Colorado, where it's like, God, this guy's been the face of our franchise for so long. He's still pretty good. But is it time to finally try and max the value we can get out of it?
I was shocked the Pirates traded Neil Walker. I don't know why. I was shocked at that
for
trade.
Jonathan Neese, maybe.
Well, that's true.
Well, no, I think that's like Jonathan Neese is okay.
Yeah, okay.
But I think Pittsburgh's gotten to the point where they're almost overconfident that Ray Searage, who's probably the best pitching coach in the world, can turn all these guys
get a guy
around
and do it. Okay,
and turn them all into A.J. Burnett. Or Francisco Liriano for the longest time, but Liriano's not having a very good year.
He's not.
This year.
And it's not like Walker was the heartbeat of that team. I'm not
It's pretty
saying
good,
that.
though.
But he was good. He was good. And he could come up clutch in a lot of situations. Last night watching that Pirates game late with Kershaw was out. They had a reliever in now for the Dodgers. They, the old stat tracker. I don't know if you saw it when McCutchen got tossed from the game, but he took, he threw I think it was like a little slider on the outside corner. Guy calls it for a strike, and it had missed. It had missed by maybe 2 inches. Then the next pitch was a fastball down the middle, but it was low, probably about 2 inches. Calls him out, punches him out, and McCutchen goes crazy. And I'm just sitting there watching that, just laughing to myself, thinking, that's how good these guys are. That's how good these players are, that they can recognize a 95-mile-an-hour pitch and say, nope, that wasn't a strike. Because he immediately looks at the umpire and goes, that ball's low. He's like, that ball is low. And I bet he's telling the ump, you're going to go back and watch it, and you're going to realize that ball was low.
Yeah, sometimes you're reminded of how good athletes are.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Like the NBA Finals.
Yes. Right.
You watch some of that, and you're like,
oh.
Like professional athletes just make it look so easy. Like
they do.
When Russell Westbrook goes from half court to the rim in like 3 dribbles.
It's sick.
You're like,
it's sick.
That's not right.
No, right.
Like, we weren't built to do that.
Most people are not allowed to do that. I mean, we just can't do that. No, I agree
with you. Or in a couple of weeks when we see Usain Bolt run a 9.7.
Are you excited about the Olympics?
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I will be. It's just like all the focus is kind of like, well, I'm not that excited about the Winter Olympics except for
curling. Exactly.
But
I wonder if your girl's still going to be on there.
Once they get here, Yeah, I'll be interested.
Get into it. I'm with you.
But it's kind of interesting because it's so much later this year. Like, if it were right now, I think it'd be perfect because you got a slow time in sports besides baseball. September, we're going to be so focused on, or late July, August, whatever.
Right.
We're going to be focused on Illinois football getting started, the pennant races, things like that. I mean, I'll still have a real interest in it once it gets underway. But
well, I mean, you're going to be changing diapers at 3 a.m. You might as well be up doing something.
It's true. Very true.
Oh, man.
But it is in Rio, so it's kind of mixed with our time, right?
I agree.
Like, we don't have to wait.
Yeah.
I get up early.
I'll be getting emails from Jeremy at like 3 in the morning of our rundown for the next show. I'll be like, oh,
Probably.
boy.
Got to do something.
That's fantastic.
Hey, thanks to our guest today, Ryan Watt, BPWrigleyville.com, Mike Claiborne, KMOX, and the Cardinals broadcast crew. Tomorrow we got 2 Illini football players, and my favorite kind of football players, the linemen.
Oh, yeah.
Got 2 offensive linemen joining us in studio, Joe Spencer and Nick Allegretti, 2-year starters on the offensive line. They'll be talking about their lift for life that they have later this week.
That's always fun to visit with those guys and get to know them a little bit better. We will see everybody tomorrow. It is the Tay and J Show.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
This Mettler Fitness Tip is brought to you by the Mettler Center, located at Windsor and Duncan in Champaign.
Accept that relapses are part of the change process. One food, one meal, one day, or 1 week of indiscretions does not mean you have fallen off the wagon. You should accept that ups and downs are part of the change process, not a reason to criticize yourself or give up on your goals. Identify relapses early so you can make a plan for getting back on track.
If you need quick advice on a fitness topic, go to MettlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert.
Have you noticed a change in the air? The days are getting longer and soon we'll be in full club car season. But don't just drive a club car. Check out all the custom accessories at Battery Specialist Plus Golf Cars in Champaign. Everything you need to make a club car statement or build the club car of your dreams just the way you want it. The journey starts at BSPGC.com. Battery Specialist Plus Golf Cars. 133 Kenyon Road just off I-74. Get on the road with a custom club car. BSPGC.com.
Law Enforcement Official of the Month brought to you by Dave's Firearms for all your shooting needs. Go to davesfirearms.com. U of I police officer Beth Weissel said her family was a little apprehensive when they heard that she wanted to be in police work.
My mom immediately was nervous and scared, and she said, "Where on earth would you ever get this idea?" I said, "Well, it's awesome. Look what everybody does, and they help people, and they get out there, and good attitudes and teamwork."
The best part of what she does?
Honestly, the best part is getting involved in Special Olympics.
What touches your heart about Special Olympics?
You know, when you hear the athletes' stories and they want to tell you their story, it's just incredible. And I know I went to school with some of the same athletes, you know, and I wouldn't have known them walking through the halls.
Congratulations, U of I police officer Beth Weissel, for being the Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month. Brought to you by Dave's Firearms for all your shooting needs. Go to davesfirearms.com.
You don't have to be a retail giant or government agency to be the victim of a costly data breach. If you run a website and collect customer data, your small to mid-sized business is just as likely to be targeted by hackers. The Barracuda Web Application Firewall provides cost-effective instant security against automated and targeted attacks, making this WAF a must-have for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda Web App Firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/WAF.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.